We are live now.
Yeah, now we're official. So, like I was explaining before, that was just take one. This is we just want to make sure we're officially live before we actually get started to talk because there is a slight delay prior to
Mhm.
until it gets to YouTube. And it says we're live. Okay, so now we're live. Okay. Sorry about that. That should have been a lot more less painless than it was. Well, whatever. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to BatYard's Finest, bringing you the finest of Batman and Superman and more in pop culture. From Metropolis, I am Josh. And here, well, we'll start with Jerry. Sorry, I
As
don't know where to
usual,
point.
everyone, I'm Jerry, still your resident lantern from Oa.
And here we have a special guest today, Steven from SK Illustrations. Thank you for joining us for the third time. This is our first time having you on the podcast for a live interview. So this is going to be fun. I'm glad.
No, thank you for having me
you to
again.
join again. Yeah. If you guys don't know, we had Steven on the podcast prior. I think it was last Halloween, like era, and I think
Mhm.
I think the first one was in October too, if I'm not mistaken. But we're trying to make this an annual thing with Steven.
Yeah.
Get into the spooky season. If you don't know, Steven is an artist from the Hudson Valley who does everything from, you know, physical medium to digital mediums, and his work is fantastic. If you haven't checked out his Instagram page, SK Illustration,
Mhm.
it's really really great work. So definitely do that.
Yes.
So, Steven, can you give the audience at home like just like a little rundown, like kind of what you do and what you're all about?
Um, I mean, you said it pretty good yourself. I'm an
Okay,
illustrator
yeah.
from. I'm a freelance illustrator from Poughkeepsie. My main focus is usually uh 80s horror, 80s pop culture,
Mhm.
to just your general, supernatural to macabre type art. Um, Sometimes I'll pull, contemporary comic book pop culture into that as well, but give it my own kind of uh, spooky twist to it, if you want to call it that.
Okay. Yeah, no, your stuff is really cool. I mean, it's definitely macabre, but it has that like cartoony vibe to it. It almost
Mm.
like feels like Evil Dead kind of
Yeah,
comedic, you know.
the older the older I get, I notice there's unfortunately, at least I feel, no gray area with me.
Hmm.
Either my stuff is very very cartoony, very animated, almost John K. like Ren and Stimpy uh,
Yeah.
influenced, or it's very not very not cartoony, very not friendly, family friendly.
Yeah, but that's all the
It's
best stuff is not family friendly.
yeah. I mean, and sometimes I feel like I self censor myself a little bit because
Hmm.
people enjoy my more cartoony stuff,
Okay.
but so I remember I had a physical one day with my doctor, and she knew I was an illustrator, and she asked me if 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 her son could like look at my stuff, and I was like, uh yes, but also no.
Yeah,
So
you have to
um
filter it out.
I'm like, how old's your son? 8? Uh,
Yeah, you get away with it. That depends on the
yeah.
8-year-old. Yeah.
8-year-olds are
Um,
tough now.
Yeah.
what's that?
What's that, Jerry?
I was saying 8-year-olds are tough now. They can handle it.
Oh yeah, I mean it's funny how that works out. Like both my wife and I have discussed how like we saw movies, specifically horror movies, when we were like probably, and most horror fans could probably agree, like when they were like way too young to really be watching them, and then as adults I see our nephews are really into it too, and we start to like maybe you know what,
Yeah.
I'm the uncle, I don't care anymore. So there's a part of me that goes,
my nephew then?
yeah, there's a part of me that wants to be like, maybe not, but then again, it's not my responsibility. So.
That's the beauty of being an uncle. You get like all the fun of having a kid without the responsibility at a point.
At times, yeah.
Yeah. That's how I feel with my nephew. I just took him on the Headless Horseman. It's like a haunted hayride thing. I'm sure you heard about it. Gary, probably not so.
My nephews just went themselves.
Oh, awesome!
We don't have anything like that in Tennessee.
Yeah, that's what I want to ask you, Jared. Do you have any houses or anything like down where you are?
We do have some, but nothing. At least it's been a long time since I've seen anything like a haunted hayride type of deal.
Mm.
Most everybody is like, "Oh, here's an old building that's been, foreclosed. Let's turn it into a haunted house." Or here's a huge warehouse that's got plenty of space. Let's go crazy with it.
Yeah, start somewhere.
So for those of you who don't know, Jerry is from Tennessee. Am I right? You're from Tennessee. I always want to say Louisiana, and I'm like, that's not it.
Today's my first day meeting him, and I could already he's not from Louisiana.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I was wondering. Like, is it more of like a northeastern thing to have haunted houses? But like they have it in like California and stuff too. Like, do they have it?
Oh no, it's a nationwide thing. There's
That's what I assume.
There's a few documentaries on Amazon Prime about people that Halloween is their thing, and like they convert their house into a haunted house. Like they run their own haunted houses. I think it's called American Haunters.
I think that's it. I've seen that.
Yeah. I think that's one of them. And I think there's two things called Haunt. One of them's actually a movie about like a local haunted house that runs like an extreme haunted house, which are very real things. And then I think there's another documentary called Haunt as well, which is just like American Haunters. It's about like family run haunted houses and things like that. But definitely check out both of those because they do go into the kind of rising trend of extreme haunted houses.
Is that like the haunted houses where they like physically torture you and like you have to sign a contract or
you
something?
Get waterboarded. Like it's thanks.
That sounds like
I think we have two here in Tennessee that are like that. It's like a hospital and a prison, maybe.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Take two things people are deathly afraid of and just have people touch you in them. It's great.
So yeah, we have a comment from T-Pillow 2010 saying, I think we have a haunted hospital and a prison. Is that what you're mentioning? Is that what you're talking about, Jerry?
Yeah, because it's like I do know some people who have done the extreme side of it, and it's like they'll do the full contact houses where like they can push, shove, shake you around, and all of that stuff. And then it's like you have to sign a waiver, and it's a money back guarantee if you go like the whole experience.
Yeah, a lot of people don't make it all the way through. They physically like have to tap out. They're like they can't take it. It's way too real. But
yeah, that doesn't even sound.
I don't think I've heard or seen anybody make it all the way through one.
I haven't either myself.
God bless them.
More power to
that
him.
doesn't
I'm
sound appealing to me at all.
Yeah.
Have you done any haunted houses or anything like that this year? Like, do you have like a tradition? Like, do you have like a specific place you have to do like annually, or do you do like different places, or it's just kind of like whenever you can?
I mean, we usually try and do the Headless Horseman.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't. I mean, my nephews, like stated earlier, went and did the kids version, but this year they got rid of the hayride, and I like to sit down and not have to really walk very far. So the fact that they got rid of that, I was like, and I think because of COVID, they've changed a lot of the actual houses that you walk through. For safety reasons, like I think they've put like plexiglass up in front of like the spots where a performer would pop out of or something like that. I know that they did that in Universal for like their Halloween horror nights, which is it's completely fine, and I get it. For me personally, when it comes to horror and spooky things, being a movie or a ride or something like that, I try and, regardless of how goofy it is, I try and buy in as much as I can. Like Hunter S. Thompson said, buy the ticket, take the ride. Like I'm giving you my money to get scared, scare me. So when you go into a haunted house or any type of performance thing like that, when there is that safety partition there, for me, it takes me out. It just takes me out of it. I'm like, well, I know you're not going to swing that chainsaw at me because there's a wall in front of you there, buddy. So, but that's just me.
Yeah, I just was there this past weekend with my nephew, and it didn't seem as scary as the previous years, like you were saying. So like, I kind of was like, it was still fun.
The hayride's fun. It's fun to ride around on a giant tractor in the dark.
Yeah, and you get the headless horseman to chase you.
Yeah, you got the headless. It's called the Headless Horseman. I want to see no head on a horse.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he should show up, but when you like walk through the trail instead of the hayride, and he showed up like too prematurely for my liking. It seemed like it was like in the very beginning of the walk there.
Yeah. You could see him coming from a mile away, like I'll just step to the left. He won't really be a problem.
Yeah. So I just had a question for you. Like, since like COVID and everything, have you been going to any conventions? I know you had a booth at Hudson Valley a few years ago, and that didn't happen this year. So
no. So actually, my first convention was actually 2-3 weeks ago. It was like the tail end of September. In Amenia, at a drive-in. It was actually really nice to, get back out there, and do it again. And then
where was this?
Amenia, New York.
Oh, I never even heard of that. I live in New York.
Dude, the drive-in, it's on a corner at a pretty much like a 4-way intersection.
Okay.
And it's tucked. The drive-in itself is tucked away that if you didn't honestly know it was there, you would miss it. Like I've seen like the places up in front all the time, but I've driven past it before, and I'm like, there's a drive-in theater back there. Okay, news to me.
Is it
Been
downstate
here my whole life.
or is it upstate?
I'm trying to think of where it would. I think it's only like a half hour north of me, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I should know that then.
It was super close by, and super low key. It was nice though. The weather was perfect for it because it was outdoor.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Oh, I'm glad
Yeah.
you're getting back into the swing of things with the Comic-Cons and stuff. I like. When was the last time?
I'll be at
I don't even remember.
I'll be at New Jersey HorrorCon November 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Are you gonna have a booth there?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
that's
awesome.
It's funny. This convention I've been trying to do since COVID started. I was supposed to do it back in March of 2020, and it just kept on getting put off and delayed and put off and delayed, and finally they've been doing a few prior to this, so like I'm doing this one come hell or high water.
Yeah, no doubt. I can't even remember the last time I even did a con, so that's cool that you're getting out there. I'm hoping that the BatYard team can see you at a future con, because it was a good time at Hudson Valley. Like,
I mean, Hudson Valley made a post, I think, recently. They're trying to get one going again for 2020, and then there was another there's Mid Hudson Valley Comic Con that was at the Civic Center.
oh yeah, I did.
At the end of August. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't go to that one. Yeah.
No, I wasn't able to go. I saw it, and like I looked at the dates. I was thinking about actually trying to do it, but the dates just didn't align for me. So.
Yeah,
but
we're hoping for.
At least I know that's there for next year.
Yeah, no, that's true. We're hoping for next Comic-Con we'll have enough funds to get Jerry up here in New York for our.
I'm trying to make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll get the whole team together. But no, that's really cool that you've been doing booths and all that. You sell prints. What else do you sell?
I sell prints, original, paintings. Lately I've been getting into jewelry making and
oh, cool.
Making these. Thought I had one nearby. I've been making like little terrariums, but they're little cemeteries.
Oh yes!
That sounds cool.
Really cool. They were really neat. I remember you showing me that. Yeah.
I've done a few in like, glass cases and stuff like that, and then I've with a couple of them I've been setting them up more on a flat, like mini little shadow box scene that has like the interior painted, and you can actually hang it on your wall. Other than that, I like making stickers a lot. Like it was funny when I was getting ready for the convention in Armenia, of getting all my supplies together and everything, and I pulled up like a few stacks of stickers that I had made for 2020. They came and everything, and I'm like, I completely forgot I made these. But just completely, it was actually a pleasant surprise because, I just completely forgot I had them. I was like, oh, I remember making these now. These were cool.
Yeah. You look back in your boxes of like cases that you have for cons, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I remember."
Oh, every day, every day. 2020 rolled around. The beginning of it, was fine, and I had signed up to do all these conventions, and like, I've had banners, made in the past, but then like, I felt the direction of my art changing, so I was like, I'm gonna come up with a new, design and stuff. I'm gonna get one of those fancy, legit, convention tablecloths that are fitted, and make me not feel like a fraud, and like one of those collapsible banners that you can put up behind you.
Yeah, those are nice.
The sweet cages you can hang all your stuff on, and I got all that, and like I was setting up like a demo table up in my spare room just to see like how am I going to set my stuff up, and then just everything. So like I finally got to use them after them just sitting by my desk, just like collecting dust. Like it felt finally good to use it.
Yeah.
I had a question actually, Steven.
Yeah.
Now, Josh mentioned that you do art, prints, and digital media, and I was wondering, do you have any movies from any certain era or even comic books that fit in horror that you use as an inspiration or you use as a centerstone for a theme?
So definitely 1980s horror, for sure. It was the era I was born in. And then also I like a lot of the original like the golden age of horror, the Universal. You got Dracula behind me.
Yeah,
those.
it's all mirrored.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, the Dracula poster. That's awesome. I have that in my room actually. That same poster.
Nice,
sweet.
But I like a lot of the silent era, because it was just so new, in terms of comic books, I like a lot of the 1950s EC comics, like Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Horror, all that style. I like a lot of Robert Crumb comics. Those kind of influence definitely the more child-friendly side, the cartoonier side of my work. But then, from the comics, like more contemporary, Dynamite puts out a lot of Dynamite Boom put out a lot of licensed stuff, like your Army of Darkness. I always try and scoop up comic books that were adapted from a film. Like I have all the I think Topps put them out. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was Mike Mignola from Hellboy doing a 4-part. I think it was 4 or 6. That even could be wrong. I gotta check.
Sure.
From Bram Stoker's Dracula in 1992. Oh,
what?
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Or thank you. Any Freddy versus Jason tie-in, anything that was tied into a movie. I know Dark Horse did Aliens versus Predator, which is horror in its own right. I think I have the first Marvel zombies, definitely Walking Dead. 30
Did you
Days
ever
a
read
Night.
the Army of Darkness versus Marvel Zombies? That is. If you haven't read that, I'd be very surprised.
No, I did.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
Yeah, that is great. Yeah.
I think
my buddy Matt, who should be on the podcast, got me that. So.
I think the last Army of Darkness thing that I kept up with was a few years ago. It was I don't remember how long it went on for. It was Army of Darkness versus Kiss.
Oh. I didn't even know that was a thing.
I think I
it was goofy.
Saw that
it was fun.
At my local store in one of the resale bags.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was a good series. Yeah. And then I think it's actually still ongoing too. I unfortunately didn't keep up with it because I just wasn't able to get to my comic book shop. And I know Elvira had been putting out a series of comics through Dynamite for the past year. I know she's coming out with another series through Dynamite as well, I think. So, but yeah.
Now I actually had a follow-up question. I don't know how much you keep up with the podcast, but as you know, I'm new and I've brought in the anime side of things. And I'm not sure if you're a big anime or Japanese comic person, but I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's also a horror series from Japan called Berserk. I've mentioned it a few times, and it's it's set in, a medieval time, kind of like the witch hunts. And, it does deal with demons, the demonic, the occult.
Yeah.
Very, very graphic, among other things. I don't want to get us flagged. I'm not going to go into details about it.
No. I'm very aware of Berserk. I've seen bits. I've never sat down and actually watched it from beginning to end. But I've heard good things about it. I don't keep up rarely at all with any manga. Like I read Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, but other than that, I just couldn't connect with it. As in terms of anime, I'm aware of a lot. Like I said, I watched Dragon Ball Z every day after school with my buddies. We'd gather around. Toonami would come on, and we would watch Dragon Ball Z.
I would definitely recommend
Dragon Ball Z, Ronin Warriors, Samurai Pizza Cats, Sailor Moon. Like I think, like we just like those all came before Dragon Ball Z in the lineup. So we just sat and we like muscled through them, whether we liked them or not, and just waited for Dragon Ball Z. Vampire Hunter D. I really like.
I'm very familiar with that.
Akira and Vampire Hunter D. I saw at way too young of an age. Like they used to play them on. They used to play them on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yes.
At noon. They had a Saturday anime lineup back in the early to mid 90s, and they would play that at like lunchtime. And I just remember vividly watching Akira and just seeing a person explode, and like looking at the TV and like looking around. I'm like, I know I'm not supposed to be watching this, but like it was one of those things. Just keep watching, make sure like mom's not coming, and just keep like, jeez, But I'm also aware of like a lot of, I don't really know their names. I know like Naruto, Bleach, mainly because at the martial arts gym I help coach boxing at, a lot of students wear like anime themed gear, from like t-shirts to like MMA shorts to jujitsu gis. I think someone came in with like the orange and blue like Goku jujitsu gi a few times, but I'm always seeing young kids and adults even come in wearing that stuff. So it's cool to see that it's become I arguably more mainstream than current Western cartoons and stuff.
Yeah, I would I know that you like to you obviously like to do art, and you might like to draw inspiration from different things. And since of course this is October and spooky themes are what we do, it even if you just go on Google and just look through some of the different art, I think you might find inspiration like, oh, this is just absolutely grotesque. I want to try to recreate this. So I just thought I would, throw it out there as a recommendation. I would love to see. All right, I just followed you on Instagram myself on my personal account.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, Jerry's been getting me into a lot of anime. I'm an anime newbie, so he's been branching out my repertoire.
I've rewatched the new season and all the prior seasons of the Castlevania series.
Yes, that was about to be another question I had.
Castlevania is my shit. Yeah. I have my Nintendo next to me, and Castlevania's in it. It's hands so down. Cool. It's my favorite game series of all time.
Oh, that's neat. I haven't really played old school Nintendo. Like I played some games, but like I never went into like Castlevania or like I played like Super Mario Bros. And like the basics, Like I never
Castlevania is
Final Fantasy I haven't played either.
I could never get into the Final Fantasy games. I always admired the artwork and the design, but when I was younger, obviously, like, Castlevania is my favorite. I like action adventure games, role playing games. Just I did not have the time or attention span for it as a kid. Like, I just wanted to get into the action and just whip things. Mana, what's that? I don't have time to grind for mana. I've got skeletons to whip.
Right. Yeah. I'd much.
But again,
rather
like when it comes to Nintendo games or even contemporary games, they're cliche. They're cliched as like legendarily bad because they were LJN games. But like the Friday the 13th for Nintendo. And,
with the purple costume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Nightmare on Elm Street, the Jaws games. They were produced on not a very large budget, but like I think they get too much crap. I think they're fun games. Like, you don't need to be into horror to enjoy those ones. Like, yeah, the music is but like I said earlier, when I do something or watch something that involves horror, I'm buying the ticket, I'm taking the ride. I don't care how goofy purple and teal Jason looks. Like, you sit there in a dark room with like an old CRT television.
Yeah, it's pretty.
And you got that music going. You hear that Jason alarm, you start to freak out. Like, is he gonna?
Yeah.
And then when that purple dude comes out, it's scary. You want to buy into it.
Yeah, no doubt. I do have to like get back into the old school like gaming consoles. Like the oldest thing I have is the Nintendo 64. Like that's the oldest console I have.
Yeah, that's the oldest I've got.
Yeah.
See, that's a generation's first gaming console. For me, that was like my fourth. Nintendo was mine. The original NES, that was my console. That's what I started.
Yeah, my first one was N64. So like, yeah, that like, so it's like it's interesting to see the like the generation like starts like with you're like, oh, I'm Xbox generation, or I'm like PS1 or PS2 or whatever. It's like interesting to see like the era of like each generation, or like every person like always has a different console that they started out with. And it's like,
and it's funny,
interesting to figure out.
It's funny too. Like, you'll see a lot of people go back and forth between things, console wise, and gain and lose dexterity in their hands from like for the longest time when it came to first person shooter games, I was all about playing them on a computer. Like my hand-eye coordination was built for a computer at the time, but I want to say within the past 10 years, I started playing more console, like Xbox and stuff like that, because I had more friends that played online that way. So like, I remember trying to use an Xbox controller. I was just like, I'm never gonna get this. Like the dual analog sticks, like I'm not. No, at least for shooter games. When it came to shooter games, I was just like, I can't do it. Like, I'd just be that dude spinning around in a circle for the longest time.
Just shooting.
And now I built up, 10 plus years doing it. I built up the dexterity, and like just recently, I went to go play one of the Call of Duty Black Ops games on my computer that I hadn't touched. It was like a gaming computer that I hadn't touched in years. And I'm like, oh no, I'm bad at this. Like, what happened? I thought I was just slide right on in and everything was gonna be fine. I was like, nope. It's like trying to relearn how to ride a bike. Like, you know how, but like you're going like this, like every couple feet, losing your balance a little.
Yeah.
But but again, speaking of horror games, like I don't know why, like I'm always late to the game with games, just because especially nowadays when like games release.
There's so many new generations.
There's always something wrong with them, so I'm like, I'm never buying something day one, just because I know there's going to be a huge update.
There's so many bugs
or something like that. So when it came out, or like when I heard the Kickstarter for it, the Friday the 13th game,
that game was great.
I recently just bought it for like $5. I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna not get it now. That game is super fun.
Really fun.
So and last time I played
terrifying.
it, they patched it.
What's that?
I remember playing it when it was fairly new. I probably got it within the first couple months, and it was super hard to kill Jason as the counselors. And then I remember playing it after. And then they switched it. They made it like handicapped for Jason to kill the counselors. It's like, what the heck? Why did they do this? They ruined the game. I don't know if it's like that now. But that's like my experience. It was like months, a year after.
Last time I played,
it.
They made it pretty. It's still pretty difficult to kill Jason.
Yeah.
I mean, I was so new to the game. I was just running. I was just trying to run and just not be near him. And they actually made it a little bit more, at least for me, because I was so new to the game, they actually made it a little bit more difficult to kill the camp counselors. They can get out of your grip a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Really?
It was at first he was just a powerhouse, and then they handicapped him a little bit.
He picked him up by the throat with one hand and just walk around with him, and you could just kill him that way.
Yeah.
But now you grab him and they just wiggle out and run. Now you got to chase them all over again.
I almost like when it was impossible.
Answer your question. I play online once in a while. I don't usually have the time anymore to do multiplayer. Do
you play on console or do you play on
console
on computer? Oh, okay.
Xbox.
What do you? Yeah. Oh man, I was about to say if you had PlayStation, we should totally play.
I totally would if I had a PlayStation. See, that's the thing. I had an even amount of friends that had
both consoles,
Xbox and PlayStation. I'm not. First of all, I'm not getting both. I'm not right. Yeah. I don't have two knuckles to rub together. I'm not getting both. We get one. And I didn't get an Xbox One, honestly, till 2016 or 2017. I just rode my 360 out till my fifth 360 out till it red ringed me and I couldn't do anything anymore. So
so you had five 360s?
I went through 5. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Jeez,
yeah.
Man.
I think I had 2. Yeah.
I had 2.
It was not fun. You think I would have learned by 2 to just switch over, but I had my thing was I had a good amount of games, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna bring these to GameStop and get paid $7 and just get ripped off. These games are in good condition, so I would just buy another Xbox because I didn't want to have to get rid of those games, and then
what did you do with
them all over again.
So what did you do with your prior consoles? Did you just use them for parts?
I still have my last 360. It's in the other room, just sitting there.
Yeah.
I have all my classic, systems, NES, Genesis, Super Nintendo, and 64.
Awesome.
Set up all daisy chained into a switcher, and they all hook up to a projector. So I just play it on the wall, big screen.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That gives it a classic feel, just like a projector for sure.
Well, but before I got the projector, for a while we actually had all the retro consoles set up to be played on an old tube TV. We had an old spare TV that you had to put it on channel 3 to play all the games, and that's what you played it. That's what we were playing it on. And then I got and then I just realized I'm all right, we have 2 TVs stacked in the living room. We can't keep living like this,
Right.
So I think we still have the TV. I think we just put it away. And then we got the projector for movies, the video games and stuff like that. I even play my Xbox off the projector too. So
nice.
I got terrible vision. I don't want to be in front of the screen Have it all on the wall.
Yeah,
there is a big,
big as you want.
There is a big jump. At least I noticed with first-person shooter games, there is a big jump in like when I first started doing it in like hand-eye coordination for sure. Because you don't have everything in like in front of your face like on a laptop or a computer monitor. Because I know when I would play on a computer, I'd start to lean in once things
nosedive.
Things would get intense. So when it's up on the wall, I'll be in like this chair like this. But when shit gets intense, you take that forward lean because every gamer does.
Time to get serious.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, when I get like too involved, I like start rocking. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I do too. I'll like
my ADD or something. I don't know what it was.
Oh, I do for sure. Absolutely.
But yeah, I can't stop moving. Like I can't sit still for too long. Like I start moving around.
I need to be engaged in something like this for me to actually sit still. But like, even then, like I'm still fidgeting around. I remember when I went to the doctor for the first time when I was diagnosed with ADD. The doctor's like, usually people with ADD are always like fidgeting like a finger or twitching in some way. And I was sitting there, I'm like, I'm wiggling my toes like you have no idea.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't tell because I was wearing boots at the time.
Right.
But that was my thing. I wiggle my big toe when I'm like, instead of like fidgeting with my hands or anything like that. My toe's just going a mile a minute. That's what I do.
That's actually a really good idea. When when I was
well, no, I don't do it on purpose. I just do it. It's not something I chose to do to try and like psych people out.
Moving your hands where it's like super obvious, like if you're wiggling your toe, I was like, yeah, that guy's normal.
Yeah, you couldn't tell.
Nobody has to know.
Right. When I got excited when I was a kid, like I would start flapping like this, like a hummingbird. And then, like, I got to 6th grade, and then, like, teacher yelled at me to stop it, and I was like, "Oh man, now I have to
bird."
Try to, now I can't fly away. So now I gotta like try to hide it. So like, there's times where like I'm starting to do that, and then I like pretend I'm like playing the drums.
Oh,
like,
that's
just more normal.
Yeah,
just play it off.
like that's a more normal motion, which it's still.
It's like when
ridiculous.
You think you see someone. When you think you're like at the mall and you think you see someone so like you start to wave and then you just like.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. You catch yourself and you're like, So there are times if I get excited, I still do it, but I try to hide it. So I just revealed it to the world.
You're at the age now where like whatever.
Fuck it.
Whatever. Yeah. Whatever. I drive around with a skeleton in my passenger seat. I don't care anymore.
Oh, what? Wait, for real?
Well, I have been.
Well, not a real one?
Not a real one, no. I don't have the money for them. I got it as
free.
At the local cemetery, yeah.
Right.
I got it as like I had a Halloween idea to use it for, and I got it during a like it had started raining really badly when I had picked it up, and like when I got home, I was just like, I'm not trying to yank this thing out of the car in the rainstorm. I just went inside and I just left it in the car, and people love it. Kids have been enjoying it when they see it parked in a car. But yeah, I never meant to actually like leave it there. I meant to take it out of the car, but I guess it's just gonna stay there for now.
When did you get the skeleton? Like, did you just get it for this Halloween, or is it like all
just
year
this
round
Halloween?
thing?
No. I got it maybe a month ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah. September is basically the time to start.
Whenever mid to late September, whenever like the local spirit stores like finally opened up. I was gonna do like my goal was to try and do like and it still is. I mean, I still got time. I just need to not be lazy. I wanted to get another one. I wanted to get like 2 or 3 of them, and I wanted to do like a Vlad the Impaler type setup and just have them on giant.
That'd be cool.
Pikes, like really like flagpole tall things, where they'd be like impossible to get down. But I haven't gotten that far yet, obviously.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you, like, do you like deck your house out for Halloween? Like, do you go like the full 9, like decorating, or like how do you do it? How do you...
Yes. Yes. We usually turn the garage into some type of haunted attraction. Put a lot of facades up.
Cool.
So right now we have a I think we're going with like a zombie theme this year, like a zombie apocalypse.
Cool.
So we've got like
man, that's so cool. I want to come over and check it out.
Feel free. We got like we built inserts for the windows to make them look like they're boarded up. We use a lot of styrofoam. There's like a fake mausoleum in the front yard. And then we have like we got some like barricades and stuff in the driveway. And a lot of prop zombies. We usually build like a cemetery in the yard. Get a smoke machine going in it.
Oh, that's so cool. You should.
That's nice.
Excuse me.
God bless.
I just have it.
Well, I mean, I feel like coughing is, it hurts. I feel like coughing hurts more than a sneeze. So, like, why don't people say God bless?
Way more.
I don't know.
Like when I sneeze, it's a relief. I'm like, yeah, I got,
sneezes kind of, sneezes kind of feel good. A cough never.
It hurts. It's an ab workout.
It hurts, yeah.
Yeah, if you should if you can, like, I would love to see a picture or something. That would be super cool.
We usually take pictures, so yeah, I'll definitely have pictures up this year.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so I mean, I guess that was really my last question. I think we should probably roll into the mediums before. I know we could just kind of keep talking forever.
I can, yeah. I have a bad tendency of not knowing when to shut up sometimes.
No, that's
no,
that's
all
about.
fine.
Just keep talking.
For a podcast that works out, yeah.
Yeah, no, we I mean, I could keep talking about like Halloween and traditions forever. So like,
yeah.
You're not hurting my feelings, So I just wanted to get into the short that we decided to discuss for today's episode, which is the Real Ghostbusters. I think season 1, episode 8. Yeah.
Yes.
Which is it's super early for like this great of an episode.
It's episode 8. It's funny. I was actually thinking about that earlier when I was rewatching the episode again. Was that
I mean,
they really the first season they really came out swinging. With their episodes in the first season. First season is you've got the Boogeyman. You've got Mr. Sandman.
Yeah.
You've got this episode. Like, you have a lot of probably the most iconic Ghostbusters villains in the series. And I always felt.
Oh wait, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say I always felt when they got to this episode, like this should have been like a 2-part like season finale, and not in the first season. This should have been this should have been like season
the build up,
season 4. Considering like who you think, who the character is when you really think about it.
Yeah, I think the first 2 seasons of the Real Ghostbusters are the superior. And then, like, once, I haven't really seen season 3, but once they get to, like, Slimer is the main star and the Real Ghostbusters.
Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters is when it kind of
just fell apart.
It dropped off.
And then they replaced
especially when Slimer got his own show and the Ghostbusters were, like, not in it. Yeah. Slimer and a bunch of kids.
Yeah, like, what's the point? Why do that?
Yeah. I was like, the animation style was different. There was that recurring villain character of like he was like a dog catcher that was always trying to see. This is how much I didn't watch the show because I don't remember. Like he was always trying to catch Slimer.
Yeah, I only seen probably the first 2 seasons. I think I stopped after that. Like after they replaced Lorenzo Music as Peter Venkman, and they got
Yeah,
the guy from Full House.
Mm-hmm.
What's that
Dave
guy's name? I
Coulier.
don't even
Yeah,
know. Yeah. The guy who
there's
plays
a
the
noticeable
Uncle
difference. I think
Joey or something.
he does an okay job, but no, Lorenzo
Yeah.
Music's voice is much more iconic.
I think he hits the comedic beats a lot better than Joey from
Yes.
Full House.
I would definitely agree. But yeah, there's it's funny. Even in this episode, there are some moments where the animation is like is goofy, like they're just drawn like really bad.
Weird.
There's a scene, like they it's got some of the best writing and storytelling, but some of the weakest animation because like they didn't really have the.
I agree.
The groove set in for it yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do agree with that. That's one of the first things I noticed. Like there's like a wide shot and they're all like walking and like Egon was talking like on a walkie-talkie or something, and then his mouth was just like this. It's just like really, really funny.
In this episode, there's a scene where you see Ray in profile, and they just didn't draw him with like a chin, and then they gave him like a really scrawny neck, and his torso just like it curves in like from the profile, like just all weird looking.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I just wanted to explain.
It's not for a split second. Like it's like a solid like 5 to 10 seconds. You see this like this.
Yeah, that was like one of the first things I noticed was like the janky animation. The character design is like perfect. It's just like the animation, like how it moved, was kind of off.
They kind of
adds to that charm. Yeah, it definitely did. Like as they got like reformed and they progressed through like different episodes. But for those of you who don't know, basically this episode is in when Halloween was forever, when ancient ruins arrived to New York City for examination. The evil spirit of Samhain? Is that how you pronounce
that's
it?
That's how it would be pronounced phonetically, but it's actually pronounced Samhain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Samhain.
Because I had the subtitles
sounds a lot cooler because it sounds like
yeah. Samhain. Yeah. So he declares that Halloween should last forever and calls forth an army of ghosts for the night. So that's the basic synopsis of the episode. If you don't know at home, but I definitely recommend it.
Watch it today.
It's really good. And again, like as a kid, I saw a lot of these episodes like out of order before I knew that shows ran on a set number of episodes per season.
Yeah.
So when this episode happened, like I said earlier, this felt like a season finale. And as an adult, like it still feels like that. It feels like this should have been like for sure a 2-part episode.
Oh yeah, I agree. Because when I was watching, I'm like, man, this would have made like the perfect way to end the series. They're fighting essentially the spirit of Halloween.
Yeah.
And everything is just
everything.
He stops time. He makes everything slow down to a point where night goes on forever. He's attracting all the ghosts in New York to be in his army, and he's just like, leave us alone, and I'll leave y'all alone. And
which is strange because
all of these
that's actually that's a really good point. He wants to make the night lasts forever, and all, the spirits roam free forever, but he doesn't make any actual threats towards anybody living, like any mortal. He's just like, this is just what we're doing now. We don't really care what you're doing. Like, we're taking over. We're not going to kill you, but you're not really important. So it's funny when that happens because it's happening all over the world. Like the Ghostbusters kind of, I don't want to say they become become antagonists or anything like that. But considering the fact that like the ghosts aren't really doing anything wrong, the Ghostbusters just go after them for like no, like I know that's their job, but like I don't know, it's just funny to me.
Yeah. I mean, the city's power grid does get turned off, so they are wreaking havoc. Like even if they're not really actively going after anyone, but they are affecting the city in that regard. But I do get what you.
But that's like saying. Petty theft.
He it's not like he came out of the. It's not like he came out of the ruins and was just like, all right, time to kill everybody. Like
he was just
true. Like.
He just
I'm glad to be out. I'm gonna go get my friends. Like he doesn't really seem like that bad of a guy until he starts shutting down the New York power grid. Yeah, I guess I'll concede to
that. Yeah, and like, well, there's that one scene where there's like it's like a diner in the public, and
they're all skeleton ghosts.
Skeletons. Yeah, that was like that was the other time where they're trying to like they're being a little more antagonistic against like
a little bit
mortals, I suppose. Well, that scene is creepy as hell. Like that, like if I was a kid, I would crap my pants. Like it's
especially when the waitress turned around and she's just like, all right, we're gonna cook you up. I'm like, hold on there, Chief. Let's back that up a sentence.
So that it's funny that that scene, like even as a kid, I remember it like oh, something bad's gonna happen here. But they do it even worse in I think it's the People Busters episode where they go into they're in the opposite world and they go into the firehouse and they think they see Janine behind the desk and they approach from behind. She turns around and she's like a zombified skeleton and she just runs straight at the camera screaming like and then runs out of the firehouse. Like that freaked me out as a kid. That was scary. I do remember that. Because she was like crying into her hands and they just pull her around like they do. It was almost like the final scene at the end of and near the end of Psycho when she pulls around Mother to find that it's
right.
Very similar to that.
Yeah, for sure.
But
this show has like such creepy imagery. Like I was like looking at it, like watching it today. I'm like, could they get away with this today? That's what I was like thinking in the back of my head. Like it's like not like gory, but it is scary.
It is. There's
I would
a
say
lot of
no
designs.
Just because it's not the designs are grotesque. It's more along the lines of the disturbing imagery.
Yeah,
because it's like this is also supposed to be a children's cartoon, and obviously things from the 90s and even some shows in the early 2000s had very disturbing imagery that would not fly to this day at all.
Well, what's funny? I think the Real Ghostbusters cartoon would fly today. I don't think the Extreme Ghostbusters from '97 would fly today because they had a lot, more extreme designs for some of their villains. Like there's a whole episode where the villains are essentially Cenobite knockoffs from the Hellraiser movies, and like there's like skin pulled back and like
oh my god
stuff exposed. Some of their villains got real creepy looking.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like I mean I think you're right. I think it still could. I think it would get away with it. I think some of the imagery is just like so like crazy and outlandish. It's just like it would definitely scare kids. I mean, scare kids back in the 80s.
I mean, it's a lot like, and I'm sure they took inspiration. I'm sure there were actually a few episodes based on H.P. Lovecraft. Like his thing was always that unknown or unseen horror that like it's so terrifying your brain can't manifest it. So they just draw it kind of goofy looking because it's like at the end of it, like spoilers, giant
spider,
spooky, scary clown spider. People hate spiders. People hate clowns. Clown spider.
Yeah,
like it was
just
supposed
combine
to
them.
be. The spider was the closest thing that it could materialize as, because our brains just couldn't comprehend the actual cosmic horror they were witnessing. Yeah. So it's just like, all right, clown spider.
I liked with this episode they did get into the history of like the origins of Halloween, so like it does get kids kind of thinking like where it came from, and like from Ireland and Scotland, like legends, and it kind of makes kids' heads. I think their thinking process like turn a little bit more, because they're like, oh, this is like an actual factual place. This is this could kind of happen.
Cartoon and also the movie was definitely that was definitely a gateway show or movie for a lot of people of that generation into horror. Like the first Ghostbusters movie is generally scary.
It is that part.
If you take the comedic elements about it out of it, the visuals are very scary, very very scary. But at the same time, and the music, but at the same time, very approachable. Like it was very accessible to a lot of people. So I think it was definitely a lot of people's first forays into horror.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. Yeah, it's interesting because like my introduction to Ghostbusters in general was Ghostbusters 2, since I like was born in the 90s. So I was like, that was the one I was on all the time. And I was like, when Louis Tully's discussing, oh, I was turned into a dog, and I was like, when did that happen? Like I didn't know. And then
there's a reason why you see that movie on cable more than you do the first movie. It's a lot more approachable.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I know my introduction to horror was The Exorcist.
Holy shit. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a good one. How old were you when you started with that?
I think, oh God, because me and my brother would like we were flipping the channel, like we would try to watch it, and it was the scene where the girl's head was spinning. I think I had to have been at least 9.
Oh wow.
Yeah, see, I was always The Exorcist, not the sequels, not any like the first Exorcist movie is the only movie it scares me. That's the only movie that my heart fucking races when I watch that movie. Like it's scary. It's a traumatizing story, and like I didn't see it till I was 14 or 15.
Yeah, I think that's around the same age when I saw it. Yeah.
But like, that first one. Ooh. To this day,
I've never seen any of the sequels. Yeah.
Okay, so the second one is just a shit show. It was pulled from theaters. It was released, and then it was pulled from theaters because people thought it was so stupid, and then they re-edited it, and then they re-released it. But it's like it's super
like
confusing.
Something they would do today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, they kind of did it. They kind of did it with Sonic.
Like Cats.
They put that first trailer for the Sonic movie out, and people were like, "Hey, why is that hedgehog have human teeth and human eyes?
Yeah, that was
fix that,
or
I'm not
freaky,
seeing your movie." And they did. They actually listened and did.
It was gross looking. It was uncanny.
That was weird. It was so weird. But
it was unpleasant.
The third Exorcist movie. I
heard that one was all right.
The third Exorcist movie is one of my favorite movies of all time, and you can watch that movie without having ever watched The Exorcist at all. They only put Exorcist 3 on it because William Peter Blatty wrote it, and they were like, we can make money off of this if we just call this the third Exorcist movie when it's actually called Legion. So it's its own. It has some characters. It makes. I don't even think it makes any some slight references to the first movie, but like it's its own story. They just put Exorcist 3 on it because franchise money, you know.
Yeah.
Which one's the one with James Earl Jones? Is that the second one?
That's the second one.
That's the second one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the first Exorcist in a while either, so like I definitely have to dive back in. Maybe for a future episode.
The third one has probably one of the most famous jump scares in all of movie history. It's this. I don't want to describe it without giving it away, but they make you wait for it, and there's a lot of false starts to it. But when it comes, I know it's coming, and it still gets me.
So I did hear good things about the third one.
Definitely check out Exorcist 3.
So I wanted to ask you guys what is your introduction to Ghostbusters? So I kind of revealed mine. Like I seen the first movie after the second one. I seen the second one like more when I was a kid, and then I saw the first one, and then the first one I like a lot better than the second one now. But you know that I wasn't introduced to that one. So
for me as a kid, my introduction was actually the cartoon. I was introduced to the cartoon first, and then I was able to. I actually saw the first movie before the second movie. I remember when the second one came out though, and I was like, I want to see that.
Yeah, that must have been that 89. That was a great year for movies.
Yeah.
Batman came out.
Batman.
Indiana Jones. Back to the Future Part 2.
Yep. A lot of good movies came out then.
Yeah, a bunch of awesome shit. Yeah.
The 89 was 89 and 85 are really good years for movies.
Yeah.
Everything memorable.
Pretty much.
Right. Yeah, the 80s was especially a great movie decade.
Especially from that decade.
Yeah. So what is your introduction to Ghostbusters, Jerry? I just had a helicopter fly by. If you didn't.
Oh God. I have an aunt that got me and my brother into, like certain 90s and even 80s cartoons. And I want to say that it was either the cartoon for Ghostbusters or the first movie. I really can't remember. But I think it might have been more so the movie.
Yeah.
And more specifically the first one, because she had like a huge stack of VHS tapes at her house. So, and it would be like whenever she would watch it, she would just put one of them in and we'd sit there and watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool that you guys like grew up with the cartoon, because it took me a while to even see the cartoon. I was probably in middle school until I saw the cartoon. I was like, this is great. Why haven't I seen this before? It's so good. Because the cartoon, it takes the characteristics of each Ghostbusters like to a T. Like they feel like, the same character. It doesn't feel like too cartoony or too out there. And especially like how was Lorenzo Music? Oh man,
Lorenzo Music did Peter.
Yes, Lorenzo Music and Frank Welker. Like the whole cast, they do it perfect to a T, and like they get all the characteristics and like the little mannerisms. Like it feels like they're fresh from the movie, but they're also doing their own interpretation.
They dial their characteristics up just a little bit. Like my wife didn't know that Arsenio Hall was the voice of Winston for like.
Oh right.
I think like the first 4 or 5 seasons. Yeah. She's like Arsenio Hall. I'm like he does Winston.
And I did hear that Ernie Hudson did try out for the part of Winston, and he did not get it. He didn't get
Which is strange. You think you would want like an actual like actor from the movie attached to your show?
An actual I have no idea how that.
But
that's weird.
All right.
I mean, Arsenio Hall does a great job. I guess like they kind of wanted to do their own thing, which is fine. I guess they wanted to make it heighten the energy of the characters and like make it more cartoony. So I guess like Ernie Hudson's more of a grounded actor. So maybe
now
that's
I might be in the minority with this, but I think it's in the first season. It's episode. I know we need to be talking about when Halloween was forever, but I think it's what is it? It's one of the.
We're just talking about.
Oh wait, no. It's the first episode. It's Ghost Star Us. I liked when they. It literally takes place at the end of. I think it's the end of the first movie.
Is that when their suits like come to life?
Their suits, yes, their suits come to life. Their original suits come to life. I know for the cartoon and for toys, obviously, they all have to have their own separate suit to identify their character.
Yeah.
I always
like Ninja
kind of wanted them to be in like the tan jumpsuits from the movies.
Yeah.
Even
Ray's like the only
cartoon.
one who's like has that color coordination of like the original movie. Like he's the only one who has like the tan jumpsuit.
Yeah.
I get it. I get why they did their own color. It's fine.
Isn't there a scene where
I think they are wearing
where I think Peter's wearing like a dark brown one in like some montage scene. I could be wrong though, or at least
really?
in like a promotional photo. I could be wrong. I know they have like dark gray ones in the second movie, but
yeah, they did. No, they did. I think they were trying to kind of ride the wave of the Real Ghostbusters since the second one came out like 5 years after the first one. So like it's been such a wide gap that they were taking some liberties. Like that's why Janine in the second movie
has the
like,
red hair.
Wider,
she looks like Janine from the cartoon.
Glasses, and she's a completely different character at that point. She's not even the same character, like
Janine from the first movie would kick the crap out of Janine from the second movie. Like, Janine in the first movie, Annie Potts in the first movie, she's a hard-nosed receptionist. Like, she doesn't take shit from anybody. Yeah, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell them again. They don't know.
Yeah, but
in the second movie she's like going for Louis Tully, and in the first movie she's all about Egon, and in the cartoon she's about Egon. So I don't know why they traded off love interests.
And in the cartoon, at some point, they bring in Louis Tully, but he's just Louis.
He only shows up like twice.
He doesn't really do
like
too much.
Few episodes. Yeah. And they never even brought Dana Barrett at all, I don't think, in the show, right?
No, they didn't.
No, not that I remember.
Yeah, which is interesting. You would think they would bring Dana Barrett over Louis Tully, like just out of, I love Louis Tully. Don't get me wrong.
Maybe. I mean, yeah. Obviously, if you're going to bring in characters from like side characters from the movie, like bring in more, maybe more than just Louis. There were some other people.
Well, they have Annie Potts. Yeah. Because
technically you could have done like little little mini sequels to the movies by just having episodes based around those characters,
right? Have Dean Yeager become a ghost or something, or something.
Yeah. Dean Yeager.
The librarian ghost. That would have been cool.
That was a scary ghost, man.
Yeah. They did kind of cap it off with the video game. If you guys ever played the video game, they did.
I never got a chance to play the video game.
I did.
The game is great. It is good.
I never finished it though, but it was good.
Really?
I never finished it. It came out when I was in college, and I just didn't have the time or focus to finish it but it was fun. It was fun. I do remember that.
I was in 8th or 9th grade when it came out. So, and when I heard the original cast, it's like, holy shit, it's Ghostbusters 3. I get to play Ghostbusters 3.
Yeah.
So I was super excited. I beat that game more than I can count. So I played that game so many times. So I have no idea how many times I beat that game. But it is fun. Just to hear all the original voice actors, and the original cast, especially Harold Ramis, which is, rest in peace, which is sad. And I am looking forward to the new Ghostbusters Afterlife. I think it's in the right hands with Jason Reitman. I almost said Ivan Reitman.
I think it's going to be good. I'm really hopeful.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I don't think it will be bad. Great. Yeah,
I'm looking at it like that. I don't think it's going to be bad. I mean, quite frankly, like most people like the first movie more than the second movie.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think it's superior for sure.
Because that first movie was lightning in a bottle. There was something just genuinely special about that movie. It's the same way people talk about the first Star Wars movie, or
the
first Back to the Future movie,
the
first Jaws movie,
the first everything of a saga,
the first of anything.
Anything that's good,
but certainly era to generational defining movies like Back to the Future and Ghostbusters are pillars of classic 80s movies, or not even 80s movies, just classic movies. They're up there with your Casablancas and your French Connections, in my opinion. They're super culturally relevant movies.
I wanted to say the connection between Back to the Future and Ghostbusters. So Huey Lewis, they originally wanted Huey Lewis to write the Ghostbusters music, I guess the theme song for the first Ghostbusters movie, but he was already writing music for Back to the Future with Back in Time and Power of Love. So he's like, I'm already working on this. So that's why they don't have Huey Lewis in in Ghostbusters. So they used it as temp music. And I forget what the song is, but there's this Huey Lewis song and the Ghostbusters theme, the classic Ghostbusters, I Ain't Afraid of No Ghost. But there's this Huey Lewis song that they use as temp music, and they had this lawsuit where Huey Lewis basically sued Ray J. Parker, and they had undisclosed. They figured it out under the table, who paid out what and whatever. But it's when you listen to the song, I forget what it's called. It's like Drug something. I'll find it. But
I Want a New
if
Drug?
You listen to the song, yes, that's it. I think that's it. If you listen to the beat, you're like, yeah, that's Ghostbusters. That's the Ghostbusters thing.
I never noticed that. I'll have to listen to that.
I'm gonna have to listen to that.
Check it out.
That's funny.
They used it as temp music, and I think that's how. Well, that was a part of how Ray J. Parker came up with the theme, which is kind of nuts how that worked out. But just a little tidbit of information.
That's funny.
But I want to say with the Samhain episode with the Halloween Was Forever, I love his design of the robe and the classic pumpkin head, and he has
it's very simple
too. They're
his teeth are his mouth is the creepiest part.
Yeah,
I hated it.
You hate it?
I don't hate it
or a bad way.
I hated it in a good way,
a creepy way.
Yeah,
it's just so creepy looking.
Yeah, no, it's a hate in a good way. If that makes if that makes sense.
He's definitely one of the most memorable villains from the show. Him, Boogeyman, Sandman.
Doesn't he show up again? Does he show up again?
The Boogeyman shows up twice. Yeah. I want to say Samhain shows up again.
Yeah,
I know they brought him back. I know he's in the intro to Extreme Ghostbusters, but they gave him a weird carrot nose, and it just makes no sense.
That's like a pumpkin. I mean, like a snowman. That ruins it. I think.
Yeah, he looks like a snowman. It's weird.
Yeah.
But I want to say, like in one of the later seasons, he comes back. I don't think he gets out of the ecto unit. I think it's one of the episodes where they have to go into the ecto containment unit, and they find him in there. But yeah, again, like that should have been like a season 5 2-parter.
Yeah,
he's the big baddie of the season, you know.
At least like the season finale of season 1, I think that would have fit well too, you know.
Yeah, they really wanted to. I think there were 13 episodes in the first season. They wanted to just hit us over the head with scary stuff.
Heavy hitters for sure.
But yeah.
So, do you guys have any final thoughts on if the Real Ghostbusters of Halloween was forever?
So it's funny rewatching the episode. There's a few moments in it that make me laugh. It's in the beginning of the episode. They just finished catching whatever was going on in that building, and they had the interview with the news crew. So they're back at the firehouse, and Egon is studying or reading or something like that, and their little argument ensues, and Peter's got a Slimer next to him, and it's when Egon is explaining all the weird stuff happening with the incoming stuff from the museum, and Peter's having a really hard time. He's having a really hard time believing him that like this shipment of stuff from Ireland would do anything supernatural, as he was just having a conversation with a ghost that's now like hanging out next to his head, and then forgetting that his job is to catch ghosts. Like, what? Why wouldn't you just take the guy's word for it? Like, your job is to catch ghosts. He's saying this thing's like being weird. I don't know. Maybe go check it out. Just an idea.
That's the beauty of Peter Venkman, though.
That's why
he's not scared of anything. Yeah, he does. He could not give a less of a shit about anything. You know,
he's scared of the wrong things. He's not really scared of like. He's not really scared of like these monsters and ghosts and demons.
Being famous or something.
He's scared of responsibility. He's scared of doing his job and not being famous. He's scared of actually having to do work. He wants to take the easy way.
Right. He's a perfect conman for sure.
Oh yeah, he's like your P.T. Barnum. He's a huckster. Like he's a used car salesman at heart. Which I think in an episode,
his father, right?
His father shows up, and his father is a used car salesman. So yeah. And then later on in the episode, it's when they kind of finally figure out what's going on. Ray, Winston, and Peter take off for the building where Samhain is. They're in there doing their thing. Egon's off trying to set up their giant spotlight trap. And there's like this mini car with like a husband and wife zooming around in it. And he tries to use them to pull like one of the lights or something like that, and he needs to get their attention. This is like
the goblins.
There's a perfect moment of like of writers sort of being out of touch with like current lingo. Like it was almost like when like when an adult tries to like, hello fellow kids, like he tries to come up with an insult, and I know Egon is supposed to be like a nerd, and he doesn't know how to really like insult people because that's not his character. Right. But like it's a moment of bad writing where like they couldn't figure out an insult that wasn't like, they needed to find like a one for TV that would be okay with kids hearing it. So like he ends up calling them like a bone dweeby.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Even as a kid, I remember hearing that and going, that was lame. Like that's not an insult. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
Like usually when you insult someone, you refer to them as something that's like real, you know, that has a negative connotation. I don't know what a bone dweeby is, so I'm not going to take that as disrespect. I'm just going to be irritated that you wasted my time with that insult.
You know, I
could have
accept
just
that
done that.
knock. I accept it because it comes from Egon. If it was like Peter saying that, like legitimately, then I would go like, what the hell? But I think it works for his character because like he, like you said, he doesn't have that kind of muscle.
That's when I get out of my own head and tell myself, hey, it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
It's okay. So, but yeah, no, that it like I said, Egon's character is a brainiac nerd. He
I think it works.
Insult people like that. Yeah, so he wouldn't know how.
Mm-hmm. If it was like Peter, like then I would go like, yeah, oh, come on, that's corny as hell. That doesn't work at all. But since it's Egon, I give it a pass. Like it's supposed to be bad. It's not supposed to be a good insult, and it was, and it wasn't.
All right.
It wasn't a good insult, and it worked, and it worked for him because you wouldn't be good at that, you know. At least for me, you know.
Yeah.
So, Jared, do you have any final thoughts or sayings you want to discuss about the Real Ghostbusters?
Definitely going back and rewatching this again, it reignited the love of Ghostbusters, and even, you know, just early cartoons that, you know, followed like very, you know, lightning in a bottle movies or events. And even how they designed Pumpkinhead, I know I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I'm just stick with Pumpkinhead. You know, they did stick very historically with how Halloween came to exist, you know, from 7th century Ireland, and how I think it's 100 years it's made its way all over the world, and it's basically celebrated everywhere. And people are just like, you know, where did Halloween come from?
Immigrants. Yeah.
It's changed so much over the years that I feel like only recently within the past
like
few
50
years
or so,
I literally mean within the past like 5-10 years that the origins of Halloween are becoming a little bit more mainstream. Like more people are discovering like its original meanings and historical context and stuff like that. So which is cool.
I thought you were going to say like the commercialization of Halloween.
What's that?
Oh. What did you say, Josh?
Oh, I was going to say I thought you were discussing the commercialization of Halloween was like the past like 50 years or so. Like even that's pretty new. With like
the commercialization for sure like has overshadowed it, but I like knowing that within the past few years its origins are kind of coming back to light, and more people are learning about it.
But the commercialization of Halloween works way more than for me than any other holiday for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it's a silly holiday.
It's the perfect
like Christmas. It just loses.
It's the perfect holiday to be commercialized. It would It could not be. It could not.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Jerry.
No, my headphones had a lag before you started talking. I didn't mean to cut you off. But I was just agreeing with what Steven said, you know, and you know, putting something that historically, you know, accurate and factual in a children's cartoon is still, you know, they're not even everything afterwards. They still, you know, don't really do that. Like, you know, they kind of do it with Christmas, Valentine's, you know, all the other big holidays. But when Ghostbusters did it for Halloween, it's here's the ruins, here's the facts about Halloween, and here is the actual correct pronunciation of, you know, the spirit that is derived from.
Yeah, I agree. They did a good job. They did a good job with a lot of their villains that have some type of historical context and feeding in like it wasn't just a monster of the week. Like they gave it a good background. They kind of informed you about it too.
Yeah,
which again, it leads to that gateway of like, oh, they just kind of spit some facts at me. I'm gonna go. Well, I mean, back then, I'm gonna go to the local library. Right. And I'm gonna look up the boogeyman. You know, I'm gonna go get my encyclopedia out. And
you figure out
look up the Grendel or the Pied Piper. You know, now we have a wealth of information at our fingertips that like there's no reason why we shouldn't know these things. But
yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like this got the cogs working with kids' brains, you know, trying to figure out, oh, this is the origin of Halloween. I want to know more about this, or like, you know, something like local legends, like the Sleepy Hollow, like the Disney cartoon. Like I love that cartoon. That like got me. Like I saw that in second grade, and I was like, "Oh, I know the Hudson River. I kind of live there, sort of." You know, like I want to know where that is.
It always felt cool to have to live in an area that had some type of historical folklore that's kind of like known all over the world, not just in that area, like the legend of Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, for sure. And then like it's neat to have that, even just with Ghostbusters, like since they're in New York City. And Jerry, I'm sorry, since you're in Tennessee, you don't have that like direct connection. I'm like, oh, I've been there. Like I seen the Ghostbusters firehouse. I seen the location. I seen Dana Barrett's, you know, apartment. Like I seen these places, you know, and just to have that, like, you know, I'm like, it's right there. You know, that it made it feel more grounded and real. Like it's accessible and it's tangible. Like I was like, this is right. You know, I know this is right here. You know, and I'm sure like you get that too, Jerry, but like it's, you know, I'm just
it's
like,
not of the same level.
I could literally drive there. It's like a drive away, you know. There's two things I wanted to say before we moved on to our next subject is I do have some original cells of the Real Ghostbusters. I do 3. Too. Oh, awesome, man. Oh, cool.
I do too.
You have to show me what you have.
I have
a Oh, go ahead. No. Okay. I was just gonna say, like, I don't know the specific episodes of each one.
I have a still from it's season 3. Hold on, I'm looking at it. Where is it? I forget the name of it. Oh, come on. Loathe Thy Neighbor.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I have a still from that
one. I have one. I put it on Facebook, like of the stills like that I had, and it was like a Ghostbusters Facebook group, and I was like, I don't know what episodes these are from. Can you help me out? And I figured out one of them. I forget what season it was. It was later season, like season 3 or 4. But I found the exact like still it was from, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like I own literally a frame of the show.
Yeah,
you know.
I wasn't even looking at it. I got it at a horror convention. Some guy just had it. Yeah, he just had it.
Oh, wow.
Like, he was like, yeah, I had a whole bunch of them. Like, I'm like, where are they? He only had that one at the time, but I'm like, how? Like, it's just one of those things. And like, his booth was just like a mishmash of just like like there was no theme. It was just collectibles, and I found it like hidden under some stuff. Like,
wow.
He just had it.
And it wasn't like out on display. It was like under a bunch of stuff. Like it was
like it mixed in with like a stack of like 8x10 pictures or something like that.
Oh man!
Just in a clear poly binder.
Wow.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to show me what you have. I'll show you the stills I have, and maybe we can.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture.
Compare notes and
I have it up on my wall in my living room.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, I have one in my hallway. So, yeah. No, that'll be awesome because I'm still trying to figure out 2 of them, like where they're from. I figured out one of them, but I still can't figure out the other 2. So maybe you can help me out.
I'll try.
The other thing the other thing I wanted to bring up, I do have this Ghostbusters, the Ultimate Visual History book, which like goes into like behind the scenes of each movie. Like I'm just gonna open to a random page. Like there's like, you know, storyboard of Slimer right there, if you could see that. And then it does go into the Real Ghostbusters right here, the expanded Ghostbusters universe, and then there's like behind the scenes of like the Real Ghostbusters. So like if you guys want like all the information of Ghostbusters, like this has it. This has like
it's in there.
Storyboards and like little post-its and like just information from like little notes from like Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis and Ivan Reitman. It's like it's all in here. And it's like every page I open, it's like there's a new design. Like I never seen this ghost before, and it's like something that they never put in the movie. But it's definitely worth checking out. I got it at a local Barnes and Noble, and it was on sale. So that was like a year ago.
That's cool.
Yeah. I'm not too. If
you ever get your hands on. Yeah, it's Ghostbusters: The Ultimate Visual History, and there's a introduction by Ivan Reitman, which is pretty cool. So I just wanted to mention that. So I think we should move on to our next medium. And I was wondering, Steven, would you want to take the reins on, since this was your choice, would you want to take the reins on Night of the Demons? Just like kind of just a quick synopsis of it.
Sure.
I mean, if you don't want to, okay.
I can try.
Yeah, no, it's all right. So we're not so good at it either.
So a good segue into Night of the Demons is that Steve Johnston was the head makeup designer and artist on Night of the Demons, and one of the films he's most famous for is working on the makeup team of Ghostbusters.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
He was part of the makeup team of the first Ghostbusters movie.
I gotta look. I gotta look him up now.
Yeah. There's that connection. This was a really fun movie. This is 1988. I think it was made in 87, and then it was released in 88, 89. It actually, so in 88, it's listed as coming out in 88, but it was first released to just a small local market in Detroit, and then it hit nationwide release, I think, in 89.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. One of 3 films. This is the only one that was in theaters. The subsequent sequels were straight to video in 94 and 97. The third one came out. But the character of Angela, who is the main antagonist of the first movie, is played by Linnea Quigley. She does play Angela in the subsequent sequels as well. So because they're not. They are related. They all happen on Halloween, but I'm not going to get into the sequels. Got to get through this first one though. Yeah, this is a really good movie. This is what I call like a background movie. It's a fun movie to watch on its own and just to watch, but it's a really good movie to have on at a Halloween party in the background. Like it takes place on Halloween. It was originally called Halloween Party. Pretty much like.
Oh, really?
Yeah, pretty much. I want to say like up to like 3/4 of the way through filming, it was referred to as Halloween Party to the cast, except they had to change it because I forget the producer's name, but one of the producers from Halloween threatened to sue them for using the word Halloween. Because they felt
what?
Yeah,
what the fuck?
Yep.
That's like saying like Christmas in your title and you get sued for the last Christmas or I just
they felt like
title.
they just had
but
like it was just too close to the movie Halloween because it had Halloween in the title.
That's the stupidest shit I've ever heard.
Yeah. Yeah, so they changed the name to Night of the Demons, which, I mean, makes a little bit more sense. I know there's a Halloween party involved, but it makes a little bit more sense. Because the party doesn't really last for long.
Yeah.
And as much as I love this movie, when like parties in full motion when they're at the house, there's only 10 of them, and like I know that doesn't like that kind of sounds like a lot of people. It's not really a lot of people for like a house party.
It's not a lot
when you realize that like this house is gigantic. Like this was a real house in LA that they filmed at. Like the first or the second and third levels were used as like the makeup rooms and wardrobe rooms. Like they utilized every inch of that mansion as they could, because the movie was only completed for like a hair under $1 million at the time.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so like it's and that's. I mean, you can look at it. I mean, like after hearing that, it's hard to call something low budget, but it's relatively lower budget. Like it's a B movie for sure. You know, the acting is not the best, you know, because you're shooting on film. You only have so much film, like 25 takes, and that's the best one you can give me. Well, yeah, that you know, like that's the one that made it into the movie. But yeah, no, this was a fun one to watch. And like I've leading up to this, like I've rewatched this movie like 2 or 3 times, getting ready for this.
Oh wow!
So yeah, this is a which I didn't have a problem with, because this is a favorite one of mine. I do like this one.
Yeah, this is a breeze to watch. Like it's only an hour and a half, and I was like, oh wow, this is so. You know, like you just put it on and you watch it one sitting, and it's just like it's over, and it completes like an exact time you need this story.
There are parts where it drags a little bit, but
in the center, in
the middle it drags, and there are parts of it where like, so you have the character of Judy. She's the girl that is dressed up as Alice in Wonderland. She's essentially our main protagonist in the film. And then you have Angela, and there's that moment when they're doing the seance with like the mirror and everything like that, where she's explaining stuff, and then what's her name? Helen?
Helen. I think it's Helen, yes.
Yeah,
the one who freaks out. Yeah,
she freaks out, and then Angela's like, "Guys, this is kind of serious." There's almost this moment where like I feel like they forgot that Judy was the main girl, and it felt like it was Angela was going to be the main character for the rest of the movie, and I mean obviously that's not the case, but they also make. Like on all 3 movie covers, Angela's on the cover, but in this first movie, the first person to turn into a demon is Linnea Quigley's character of what is it, Susan?
Susan.
Yeah, it is.
She's the first one to turn into a demon, which is weird. Like I feel like you could have still had that scene where Angela and Susan kiss, and she possesses her. They should have just had it flipped. The demon should have possessed Angela first, and she kisses Linnea Quigley and possesses her, then spreading, the demonic possession around. Because, Angela doesn't really do a whole lot of. She's the main villain. Once she turns, like all she does, she bites out Stooge's tongue. But other than that, she doesn't really do too much killing. So it's this weird take on a slasher film where usually it's one slasher and a bunch of victims, and one by one the victims get picked off. In this situation, it starts off with one villain and a group of people, and the villains just start to multiply, and the survivors start to dwindle. And now you have like 6 slashers coming after you. And they do more of the killing. I think Stooge kills the most.
Yeah, Stooge kills what, 3 of them?
Something like that. Yeah. Oh, another kind of fun tie between this movie and Ghostbusters. So, during that party scene, Stooge says the very memorable line of "Eat a bowl of fuck." "Eat a bowl of fuck" is from the John Belushi biography. He talked. He didn't. He was dead at the time, but they talked about how the acting group Second City that John Belushi was part of. He wanted to say that line, I believe, at a live show, and they were like, "If you say that line, we're going to kick you out." And he came out on stage and to a live audience at the time. It was like super edgy. He said, "Eat a bowl of fuck," and they kicked him out. He was like suspended for a while. So the connection being that was said by John Belushi. John Belushi is friends with Dan Aykroyd. John Belushi was the inspiration. I believe he was actually supposed to be Slimer in the original take of the Ghostbusters movie. So yeah, there's that connection.
Yeah, I think so originally it was with the Ghostbusters, it was supposed to be Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, like as the two like main
I can't hear you.
Of the Ghostbusters, and then like John Belushi was supposed to be like Peter Venkman's character, and then they were gonna have like a third one, like Eddie Murphy or something. And then once he died, they based Slimer off of John Belushi with just like how he ate in like Animal House. So that's the connection with Slimer and eating. Oh, okay. So we lost connection, but don't worry, everything's fine. Jerry will handle this. Yes.
Let's see here.
So, yeah, how are you doing? I'm fine. How are you?
Hello?
Can you hear me, Steven?
Yes, I can.
All right.
Did it work? Are we there?
Hello?
Are we live? Are we live?
I'm here.
Are we live?
Come on. I just need everything to merge. Great. Now I can't merge with Josh.
I can't hear anything.
Oh, no.
What happened?
Wait, I think I know how to fix this. I'm going to drop Josh's call and try to pick him up.
Okay.
All right. Well, oh no. Okay, so I lost connection to both of them, so I don't know what's happening. Yeah. Hi.
Okay.
Where are you from originally? Are we good?
All right. And now.
Hello?
Did your phone die?
There we go.
I don't know what happened. The call just dropped. No idea what happened.
I wasn't expecting an answer to that question, so that was awesome.
I have my my headphones are Bluetooth connected to the phone.
Right.
And like all of a sudden I just hear beep, like like I just got off a call and I'm like, I didn't turn anything. I'm like, I don't hear anybody anymore.
Oh man,
you definitely played it off smooth, Steven. My hats off.
Yeah.
I started typing in our chat. I'm like, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, no, thanks for doing it like that, because that well, for those of you who don't know, this is obviously live. We do a three-way phone call for us to hear, because there's a delay if we just listen to the live playback. It's like that awkward moment where the news anchor is like, "Oh, so what do you think about that, Janice?" or whatever, and then they just stand there for like 5 seconds. So that would have been the whole podcast if we just used the live feedback. So just for clarification. But yes, okay. So now we can all hear each other.
It's all good. Where were we?
I don't remember.
Oh, the connection to Ghostbusters with John Belushi.
Right. So, John Belushi was supposed to be like the original. It was supposed to be the original two, like the Blues Brothers. It was supposed to be Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, and like a third Ghostbuster. Then John Belushi died, so then basically Bill Murray took over his role. So with Slimer, they took the mannerisms of him like eating all the time, like an Animal House, So
that's what it was.
That's the connection.
That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's the connection with Slimer.
Yeah. Because originally, like, I don't even think of the credits. Like Slimer isn't Slimer. He's listed as just like Green Ghost.
Or like Onion Head
something
or something
like
that.
I know Onion Head was like what Dan Aykroyd came up with for his nickname, but I think in the credits he's just listed as Green Ghost.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know when Slimer even became the name. It must have been in the cartoon because
in the cartoon.
Yeah, because they just say he slimed me, and I think they just ran with that,
Slimer, yeah.
Yeah. Which is fine, it fits his character. And he's definitely more cutesy in the cartoon.
What else are you going to call him? You're not going to call him like Dave. Like,
Onion Head.
No, he's Onion Head. Oh, yeah.
All the kids. They love
all the kids.
Head.
I want that Onion Head doll. Yeah. What do you want to be as for Halloween? Onion Head. Yeah, all right.
I mean, I guess Slimer's better. It's easier to say for kids. So
Slimer's way
Onion
better.
Head.
It rolls off the tongue. Yeah. Then Onion Head.
It's 6 letters. Yeah.
Spud Head. That's what they use as like an insult for him.
Yeah.
The Spud Head or the Spud.
Spud.
Yeah. Which, oddly enough, Spud is slang for potato, which is also a vegetable. Like
yes, and onions and potatoes are related. Right?
They're vegetables that grow in the ground. Yeah, that's about it. That's about it.
Never let your onions and potatoes touch.
Oh man! So I know you mentioned Steve Johnson, doing the makeup for both these movies, and I do want to say the makeup effects for like especially what's her name, the blonde,
Linnea Quigley,
Suzanne. Yeah. She looked great, like with the fangs and everything. With the what's her name, the Judy? No, not Judy. Angela. Like it seemed like her fangs almost felt like they almost looked like they were gonna fall out of her mouth when she was talking.
If you watch the movie, they have 2 different sets of like fangs in them for when they're either just growling or for when they need to talk.
I noticed that.
There's like one set where it's like usually when like Angela's like floating down the hallways and they cut to that footage of her from underneath, her fangs are like sticking out, like there's a lot more in her mouth and she's just growling, as opposed to like when she's actually talking, the teeth are much smaller and more normal, looking, as opposed to just like the all around fangs.
Right.
But the demon voice in the not beginning scene, but in the first scene where we meet Angela and Susan in the convenience store, when it cuts to the 2 clerks that are just staring at Linnea Quigley's butt.
Oh, right.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
The clerk on the left is the guy that does the voice, does the demon voice for all the characters.
Oh, that's really?
Yeah,
that's cool.
And to get the, I learned that to get the effect on the voice when he was recording it, he just took a metal trash can and put it up on a music stand and put the microphone above it. And when the scene came up, he did all the voice work into a trash can. So when you hear like that weird reverberation on it, like he's
he's
growling into a trash can.
I thought they were doing like some like reverb effect. That's interesting that they use like
it's from a trash can. Yeah, it's the can.
That was actually
vibrating.
really effective. Like when I was hearing that, so that's interesting that they use something like that. Now I have to try that out.
Yeah.
See how.
Now that you say it, it makes a lot of sense, especially with how guttural the voice was.
Yeah, and when it comes to the makeup, there were more advanced makeups, but when you see specifically like Angela and Susan's makeups, they have like stretched mouths, you know.
Yeah, that was cool. I was wondering how they did that. So, especially when she's reflecting.
Steve Johnson was a really big fan, or is a really big fan of Lon Chaney Sr., who would actually, manipulate the muscles and skin on his face to make his makeups, which, it was typically really painful to do, to be like, he would put like pegs in his eyelids to like hold his eyelids open, and like to be like that for like 6 hours for filming. It's just insane.
That's crazy.
But
yeah, that's crazy.
I forget what Lon Chaney film he did it in, but there was a film where Lon Chaney had lifts like that, and to achieve that, he used like they basically just used like this really tight sheer fabric that they painted over, and it allowed them, especially for the transformation scenes where you see it in camera,
to like the
pull it. You just pull the fabric from behind that has the makeup on it, and it just, you get that transformation effect of the skin being pulled back. So now, a lot of times when you see them, that makeup, especially for the women, it reaches around to the back of the head where it's velcroed, so they can actually just like undo it, and like they can like relax their facial muscles.
Wow.
But yeah.
I was expecting him to like use like saran wrap. That's what I was like. That's what I thought.
It was more or less like a saran wrap to get that effect.
Yeah, it was really effective, especially like her Suzanne's transformation when she's looking at the mirror, and like she like just like physically changes her face. That's when I thought the makeup was most effective.
Her makeup changes like 2 or 3 times. Throughout the movie, where Angela's kind of stays the same. The only thing that changes the only thing that really changes with hers, other than her teeth, and then when she gets like burned at the end.
Yeah,
they're all like they're like most at least
and
two
Stooge
of
get
them
burned.
They're
during
like,
when they're down in the basement, they realize, the basement's a crematorium, and they cut the gas line. And they start spraying fire indoors.
I was like, where's the fire marshal? That's clearly a violation of codes.
Why would that house have running gas? Because why? Because the movie had to happen. That's why.
Yeah. Why? Yeah, exactly. I guess they still cremated people. That was the only working thing in the house, I guess. That was interesting. And it actually made Judy pretty competent at that point. She actually took the pipe and like lit it on fire. I thought she was just gonna rip it out of the wall and start swinging, and like I thought
that's what I was expecting.
All she was gonna do.
So with the Judy character in the original script, in the original draft of it, they have her dressed up as Little Red Riding Hood in a. They have she's got a big red cape. So the reason why they changed it to Alice in Wonderland was the red cape they thought would make her feel too antagonistic and make her seem like a bad guy. And
I guess the red,
I can see that.
Yeah.
Changing her to Alice in Wonderland also helps the audience buy more into the fantasy of the house being haunted. Because if you notice, like there's like weird, like, I don't necessarily want to say like plot holes, but like some like logical discrepancies, like, the house is haunted, so it can lock its doors and like it hides the gate from them so they can't escape. But like meanwhile, there's like other doors that they just pop open. Like why shouldn't those be locked? I thought the house locked you in, so it allows for like the story to play around with like reality, however the story needs to dictate it.
Yeah, I was curious too. Like with I know they're doing a seance with the mirror, and I thought the connection was going to be mirrors. You know, like that's how the demons
what I was
find your
expecting
soul.
myself.
And they kind of set that up, and then they just don't really do anything else with it. You know. That's how I expected. That's what I thought. Suzanne was gonna get the demon transported into her because she had that little pocket mirror and she was going to look at the mirror, and then I thought that's how the demon was going to come in with into her soul.
They do that. They do that in the really god awful 2009 remake. They do that. Like I guess like they had watched the original, be like, hey, it should make more sense that it goes through a mirror. I know this. We're gonna do that, even though this movie is a giant piece of trash. Though we'll make it make more sense, but not in a
just for that one part. Way. Yeah.
But yeah, they still use like the lipstick and everything like that.
Yeah, that was okay. So yeah, and that part where she takes Suzanne,
she puts the lipstick in her boob.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I was gonna say.
That's where we're at. We're dancing around it. Let's just talk about it. She puts the lipstick in her boob. You guys probably didn't see that coming.
She just shoves it in her nipple, and I was like, "What?"
And
why?
And she's just like,
what nice. Creeps me out about it isn't even necessarily that she sticks that into her. It's that when she does, she goes all the way up to that, like all the way up to that first knuckle. So it's that knuckle. Lipstick. She's like touching her heart at that point. Like, God.
Yeah, the lipstick's in her heart.
But they achieved that. That trick was done. They didn't have enough. Like, obviously, they don't have a super big budget, and latex, even though it's pretty cheap, it can get pretty expensive for things like that. They made a false torso of Linnea Quigley out of gelatin. And they built it. I forget how they did it completely, but they built it outwards, and like part of her body was like under the floor, so they could make it look not like she was like super thick. They could make it actually look fairly normal. So it allowed her to get up to that first knuckle, and they also made the lipstick cartridge like collapsible, so like it really allowed her to like dig all the way in there.
Did they shoot it in reverse? Because like it didn't make any holes or anything in the gelatin. That's
no,
what I was,
one of the reasons why they made it out of gelatin, other than it being cheaper, was that when you like cut gelatin, it's kind of like self-healing. You can open a hole and it just like if you've ever cut a gel mouse pad open, it just kind of reseals itself. So making it out of gelatin, it allowed her. They just cut a little slit and allowed her to go all the way in and pull it all the way out, and it just closes right up without anyone seeing anything.
Yeah, that's okay. I assume they shot that in reverse because I didn't see any holes or anything.
You would think.
Okay,
you would think that if they had used like a latex mold of her, they probably would have done it in reverse or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This movie. So I was expecting this movie to like start out like with them in high school, so you like establish each character, but it just starts out like they're all going to the party. They're all going. Jay's picking up his girlfriend.
They kind of want to get you to the point. Like typically a movie would start up with like it's earlier in the day,
right?
It's the day.
They're talking about the Halloween dance or something. Yeah.
But no, it's Halloween. Like it's been Halloween for a few hours now. It's dark. Kids are out trick or treating. Like they want to get
assholes are out pulling tricks.
The movie wants to get going. It wants to get us to the house as fast as they can. we had that weird old man in the beginning that just hates everybody and plans on putting apples and razor blades, you know.
Yeah, he gets his comeuppance, and
he gets his comeuppance, which
gets what he deserves.
Well, it's always weird to me when I see that scene because it's like, all right, one, you put apples and razor blades, you're kind of a dick. Two, when your wife took those apples to make apple pie, she had to cut those things up. You telling me she didn't find any razor blades in there? Like, there's this weird ambiguity where, like, is she in on it? Did she do it on purpose?
She had to be. She had to be. Because she's like Happy Halloween. She didn't even bat an eye when he died.
She was like, Happy Halloween, dickhead.
Yeah, I'm glad you're
and
dead.
How do you bite into something
and not
know
the
razor blades?
Yes.
How do you
feel it on that first bite?
Right.
How do you get to swallowing it whole?
Yeah. It would cut your tongue, or at least your gums or your lip.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Like I know when I get eggshell immediately in my food.
Yes,
it's instant.
A whole razor blade.
A whole razor blade.
And it's not a single blade; it's a double edge.
It's a double edge blade. And it works its way out.
It's many.
The whole way out of his neck.
Yeah, I was curious, like. I would assume, since she seemed like she was in on it, so I assume that she didn't give those apples out to the trick-or-treaters because she was like, we hardly had any.
He's like face down in the pie, and she's just like, Happy Halloween. I'm like,
yeah,
all right.
Yeah, I want to know her backstory. I want to know what she's about. Like,
I thought she might have been like a rogue spirit that just found a host.
Could have been.
Oh, that's an interesting idea.
Or she finally realized she was married to a fucking prick.
Yeah, to an asshole.
You got me on that one.
Yeah, I think both of those those work. You know, those ideas kind of work out. So I was curious to that too. And I'm very surprised. Okay, so I'm very surprised that Roger survived the whole movie. I thought he was gonna die. I thought he was gonna be like the first one to die. I thought it was. I thought it was gonna be that trope. Yeah.
Why did you expect him to die?
Oh, okay. Without the race thing, I thought he seemed like the most incompetent, you know, like out of the whole group. Like he was like,
he wanted to leave. No, he was the most competent. He tried to leave.
Well, that's true. That's true. He was the smartest, but like he wasn't the bravest out of the bunch. Like he wasn't the one who was willing to like have his guns out.
No, not at all. He wanted to get the hell out. And I don't
cowering. He was like cowering in the corner. He was crying to himself, and you almost think like he was going to run away. But yes, part of that, you know that trope. You know the
I'll say it's because he was
black. Yeah, please just say it,
Black guy or the funny guy.
Yeah.
But you know what's weird? That's trope. I don't know where that started, because with all of the 80s horror movies I've seen, that didn't start to happen till the 90s.
Yeah, well,
that like they always say like that's an 80s trope, and that's not necessarily true. I'm pretty sure.
Like
now that you mention it, all the 80s movies I've watched,
think of
that's never happened unless it was like one where somebody just went crazy, like on a killing spree. But
like
just the instance like this, that wasn't really something that happened.
What is it? Friday the 13th part 5? I think it's 5.
That was like
I forget the actor's name, but he plays Spider in Return of the Living Dead, and he plays Juana Man. If you remember that one, that's probably before your time.
I didn't see that.
He's singing on the toilet and gets killed by Jason Voorhees. He's not the first person to go. He's like maybe like the 5th or 6th at that point in the movie. So like I don't know where this trope came from, but it's almost like an urban legend that like had like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like it was like rumored that it happened in the 80s, but then they just blatantly started doing that in the 90s just to say that trope existed. I don't know.
Yeah.
But But
yeah, because
again, so a connection to Return of the Living Dead, and I get a lot of Return of the Living Dead vibes from this movie, just from the overall presence of it. So if you've ever seen Return of the Living Dead, it's about like these group of kids that are looking to party, and most of them are like, are from the punk rock lifestyle, but all of these people, they're getting together to party together, but none of them seem like they actually like each other or enjoy each other's company. Like they're trying to kill each other, and I get that same vibe from these same people.
Mm-hmm.
In like a good chunk of them are friends, but like clearly Angela is just like inviting people to scare the shit out of them. So like there's just this like nobody, like everybody's there at a party, but nobody really like is friends with each other for some reason. There's like a lot of weird infighting.
Angela seemed like the outsider from the beginning, which is
she was for sure the outsider, but like her Linnea Quigley was also like in Return of the Living Dead. She was trash, and she plays she plays like the polar opposite of that character in this movie. And it's going back to what you're saying earlier about like these big teenagers. Like Linnea Quigley turned this movie down like 4 times because she felt like she was already too old to be playing a teenager. She was 26 when she did this movie.
Oh wow!
Oh yeah,
wow. I wouldn't even known. She looks pretty good.
She looks very youthful.
Yeah. Not just because she takes her shirt off. She looks good prior to that.
But and again, that's like a weird. That's like a weird trope. Like you can just tell when like these actors are like, some of them are like I can tell are like in their 30s already. Like you are not a teenager at all. It's
been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like the trope back in like even up to the early 2000s. Like high schoolers were always played by people in their 20s until like recently. High schoolers
where they started cast
as high schoolers, and then growing up, I always thought, when I'm in high school, I'm gonna look like I'm 30. Like that's like how I thought the world worked.
If you watch any like watch any like true crime shows, like if it's a case from like the 70s or 80s, like they'll show a guy and he'll have like the dirtiest mustache, and like he'll look like he'd been a mechanic for like most of his life, and like they'll still be like, oh, he was 19. I'm like, that's a hard looking 19-year-old. Like,
what, for real?
What happened to that guy?
Yeah, he just did 10 years in the lockup.
Yeah. But yeah, that is a trope that is fairly true.
Like even in like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, like they were like.
Tobey Maguire was like, I think like 30 when he filmed that, playing high school.
Exactly.
Like you could sort of get away like in the second movie, like they're in college now. All right, that's a little bit more believable.
Right.
But one of the reasons for that is, again, when you're making a horror movie, one of the reasons why there's so much independent horror movies. And a lot of B like schlock movies, because they're cheap to make. Horror is probably one of the most affordable genres to do on your own. But once you get to like the level where like you've got producers and stuff like that, like you've only got so much money, it's cheaper to film without kids. So Judy's brother in the original draft of the film is way more important, goes to the party and is one of the survivors of like hit I think his name's Billy.
Billy.
Yeah. Billy and Judy are like the last 2 survivors. It's not Judy and Roger, but they changed that because it was cheaper to have Billy in just a few scenes as opposed to having to, because like they would do night shots and they would shoot through the night, and he's like 12.
He's like 12.
Yeah, he needs to.
He's got to go to school.
And they could only work.
Yeah.
They could only work 6 hours. 6 hours a day. I think is the legal limit for child actors is 6 hours.
Yeah. So
and
that's why we have
they could
25-year-old teenagers.
Right. Yeah, I did feel like Billy was set up to be like more of a main character. Like he was going to show up at the end to do something.
Yep.
And like he was like I liked his character to a degree, but like when he like is sneaking into his sister's room and he's like, "Yo, sis, bodacious boobs." I'm like, Jesus,
bodacious
Christ.
Boobies, sis. If they get any bigger, you'll have to have someone tie your shoes for you.
Yeah,
that's
I was
another
like,
line.
Jesus Christ, this kid's he's a greaser.
That's
that's your sister, bro.
Right?
Like
That's
Jesus,
sister,
man.
There was a lot of that in.
It was like weird incestual.
There's a line in the movie, the horror movie Elves, with a similar scene. A younger brother like being a perv and spying on his older sister, and he pops out.
Like
he's just like, "Yeah, well, you got fucking big tits, and I'm gonna tell everybody I saw." And I'm like, "That's your sister."
Yeah,
stop!
That's not okay, dude.
Yeah, that's really weird. I did feel like I got the heebie-jeebies at that point. Like,
oh yeah,
what are you
definitely
doing?
Cringed on that one.
Like, kid. And then I didn't think I didn't expect to root for the greaser, the Sal guy, the Italian dude.
Like,
because at first he's just a
that's a great point that you bring up. Because this movie goes through a few weird like tonal changes where like you're like, all right, is Judy still the main character? Then it splits up. It's like, wait, is Sal gonna be the main character, or like, are we now rooting for him? Is he gonna be the final person to live, or is it gonna be Roger?
I did want him to live.
Yeah, I did too. I expected him to live, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to a point where like, and he got a pretty grisly death too. Like he falls off the roof and gets impaled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed like him and Jay like reverse roles like in the middle of the movie. Like Jay was like became the sleazeball, and then Sal became like the hero, like the competent boyfriend type. And it was like a complete reversal, which is it was interesting that they did that because I wasn't expecting it. No,
it was a nice change up because I was like, okay, Jay is acting just horn dog. The hormones are at the peak. I'm trying to get some tail. Everybody knows that you did it with Sal, and I want my turn.
Right, yeah.
My favorite part with him is in the beginning when he first calls Judy up, and he's got that. Maybe you guys notice it, but it makes me laugh. He's talking to her. He's got this box of like Nilla wafers. Yeah. And he hangs up the phone, and for like a split second, he just starts beasting that box of Nilla wafers. He's just like, yeah, more Nilla wafers. Like, that was just a really, like, I don't know if he was like nervous and like didn't know what to like do with his hands in that scene.
Right.
He was just grubbing on those fucking vanilla wafers, and I'm like, bro, I want some now. Those look good as hell.
It was like product placement before like you could spot product placement. Like it didn't feel like it, but like I was like, yeah, I want some Nilla wafers now. That sounds really good.
Nilla wafers, man.
Need that.
And speaking of product placement, when they're in the convenience store, like I don't think you ever really see Angela. First of all, I don't know how she got away with stealing all that stuff with like people in there. There were a lot of people in that store.
Yeah,
and she's just like
shoppers.
She's more concerned with looking around. So like if you notice, she's just like randomly grabbing.
Obvious.
Like I don't think she knows what she's even grabbing. Like it's not food. It's not like snacks.
It's like, I got some Tide Pods.
Party favors.
I'm probably wrong, but in my brain, she like reaches for like aluminum foil, and I'm like, you don't need that. I don't know why you're grabbing that. You don't need that. And and maybe I've watched it a few times and I don't see it, but you hear the sounds of an arcade machine, like a Pac-Man machine or something like that. But you see multiple shots of that store. You never see an arcade machine in that store. So I don't know where that arcade music is coming from.
I'd have to rewatch that scene.
Yeah, I'll have to rewatch it because I don't remember
the second that scene starts, you hear the sound of an arcade machine, like an 80s like Atari arcade machine, and I cannot find an arcade machine in that shot.
Yeah. I definitely have to rewatch this. I actually really thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Like it was like such a perfect like 80s like thriller movie, like basic cheese, you know. Like this is exactly.
It's again much like Return of the Living Dead. It's a good background movie, and it really captures that moment in like the decade, and, like what was popular and stuff. Like
it did embody the 80s for sure. And I want to say that
you have Angela doing that dance, and you have Bauhaus Stigmata playing. Like it really, like it almost knew that it was an 80s movie.
Yeah, like what it was. Yeah, it like hit every, it checked every point. And I want to say the shot where the glass was broken and it showed all the characters like looking at the reflection, and it's just like all bits of broken glass. Like I thought that shot was really impressive, like how they pulled that off. I was trying to figure that out.
Yeah, that was probably one of my favorites the whole movie.
Yeah. And it looked like they literally broke glass and just filmed it, and like
no, they probably did. They probably did. One thing I learned researching this movie was that in some of the shots, especially when they first get to the house, and there's that the room's really foggy, and it's got that blue tint to it. You know, nowadays you'd probably just run a fog machine, and you have some blue gels over some lights.
Right.
I don't remember what the chemical was called, but it was something where like fog or something that it would fog blue. It was like an actual that there's no lights in the scene coloring it. It's actually blue fog, and apparently it smelt really bad, and it would
like sulfur or something.
I don't know, but like it would stain the inside of the cast's nose. So when they would go home, they would blow their noses out, and they would just be blowing out blue boogers for like days on end.
Oh
yeah, that's probably not healthy. Whatever that is.
No, it's funny. There's like production photos. It's messed up. There's production photos of the fog stuff being used to like set up the shot, and you have the cast there, but like you've got the crew and designers and stuff setting the shot up, and they're all wearing respirators.
Oh, really?
So like, we're not gonna breathe this shit.
Yeah, but you can. Yeah, right. Oh my god. That's crazy.
That's kind of nutty.
Yeah.
So
that was
I want to ask you about we don't have to go too far into it, but the 2009 remake, was that like released in theaters, or was that like direct to DVD?
No, that was direct to DVD.
Yeah.
That was direct.
Okay.
Oh god.
Yeah. Edward Furlong with Coke bloat. Yeah, no, thank you.
Oh,
you ever see him in like it's like the 4th or 5th Crow movie?
No, I only seen the first Crow. I haven't seen any of the sequels.
Oh, okay. Well, if you ever want to practice an exercise in self-harm
and torturing yourself,
sit through that thing.
Okay. I might try it out.
So the 2009 one, I've seen it. It's got some good visuals in it. It's got some good set pieces in it. But overall, like the acting is like really, really not good. It like typically like you expect that, but this is like not good on this isn't fun to watch bad. This is just this is painful bad.
Just
bad. So one thing that they did take from it, and I actually don't know if I necessarily like it. The '88 version that we watched was, a very more or less, it was a pretty hypersexual movie. There's a lot of There's a lot of
headshots.
Lot of risque shots in it. They dial that up to 11 in the 2009 one. Yeah.
Oh wow. I thought that was to a top tier. Jeez.
I was expecting to see a boner before the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So I don't think close. You do it in the 2009 one, but let's just say a demonic possession takes place, and it's not transferred through a kiss.
Oh God!
If you know what I mean,
it's whatever Jay got.
Yes, but also no.
Okay.
Jesus.
But they dial the sex and violence up to an 11, which I mean, typically if you're into gory movies and stuff like that, yeah, that's fine. The more the merrier. But this was just, it was almost like crude for crude's sake, which I mean, some people are fine with that. But when you're doing a remake of something, I don't know. I felt like it just didn't do justice to this original one. It felt tacky.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever watch it. Yeah,
I mean,
skip that one.
Are the sequels worth watching?
Yeah, actually, they're the sequels. So the second one came out in 1994 and was straight to video, but Amelia Kinkade still reprises the role of Angela, and this one takes place at a school for girls that have emotional problems and stuff like that. And one of the girls is Angela's little sister, and I forget Angela's sister's name, but she believes that she's left to believe that Angela was killed, and her parents' grief was so great that her parents killed themselves. So she's at this school now. She's kind of a head case, as you would be if you had to go through that. And they get she gets tricked into going to the house by a bunch of mean girls and stuff like that. But there's some cool visuals with Angela and the demon makeup. They definitely go more towards a religious route with that one, with the ending and everything like that. Because it's a school for wayward girls that's run by nuns and stuff like that.
Okay. Do they still have Steve Johnson doing the makeup?
I don't think so. But whoever they have doing the makeup did a really good job. It was definitely during the days of, especially during the climax, during the days of really early CGI and green screening.
Oh no!
No. What I was gonna say was, for the time, I mean, usually when you're doing straight to video horror and you do something like that, it's gonna be bad. Awful. It's gonna be bad looking. Yeah. But it's actually really good because I think it's a combination of a little bit of digital green screening and practical.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they kind of.
So it actually looks pretty good. There's only a couple frames where you can tell oh, this is a composite shot. This isn't actually in front of anything.
Yeah, I'd probably check out the sequels sometime.
They're fun.
Yeah.
They still, like I said, they all still happen on Halloween, so they still capture the spirit of Halloween and stuff like that. Not as much and as well as the first one, but they still do a good job. They're still fun watches.
Yeah, I'll definitely check them out. So do you guys have any final thoughts on Night of the Demons, 1988?
Any final thoughts? It's much like studying for a test before the test. Everything kind of just, you don't absorb it right. And like, I've seen this movie dozens of times, but I mean, like, it's October 14th. We're well into October.
Yeah.
We're seasoned. If you're trying to get into the Halloween spirit, definitely put this one on. It's not the best movie in the world, but I remember it. It's got a cult following. People love this movie. It's got a pretty good soundtrack. We didn't really touch on it too much, but the opening animation sequence,
amazing.
That is
very good.
really
I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah. So one of the lead animators on that, I'm blanking on her name. She actually worked with Disney, and she did a lot of the animation work on a lot of Disney's villains. So she worked on Jafar a lot. She worked on Ursula. She did a lot of she did a lot of key animations on a lot of the Disney villains for their movies. But yeah, this movie has more for such a relatively low budget, movie. This movie had a lot of low key heavy hitters behind it. Angela herself, Amelia Kinkade, she was a background dancer in a lot of music videos and like TV shows in the 80s. This was like her first major acting role. Her aunt is Rue McClanahan, one of the Golden Girls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So she convinced her to start acting. So
wow.
And now I think she works with animals.
Huh.
I think she rescues animals. I might be confusing her with Linda Blair, because I know she does a lot of
I think she does that too.
Stuff with animal rescues and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this is a really fun movie to watch with a group of friends, or just to have on in the background. It's funny. I've actually, not to go on too long, I've actually listened to this movie more than I've watched it. I'll put this movie on. This is like one of those movies like I could put on in the background while I work, so I might not necessarily
I can
be
see that.
watching it, but I'm following along to the beats audibly and stuff like that. So like I've heard there's a good chunk of movies where like I've actually listened to them more than I've actually watched them.
Yeah, I could see playing this in the background like while you're doing artwork or drawing or something.
It's got a great score. It's got a really good score. Yeah.
Yeah, who's the composer? Do you know?
The composer is actually the brother of the director. So I think the director was Kevin Tenney, and I think the composer is David. I might have that backwards.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at it now. Kevin is the director.
Yeah.
Looking at IMDb. I don't. Yeah. So no, it sounds right.
But you can look at the score up on Spotify. Like it's there. It's a good one to listen to. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely check this. That'll be nice, like to add like to a background of like a Halloween party if you're trying to compose a playlist or something. I can totally see people playing that.
This movie and Return of the Living Dead probably have two of the best 80s horror movie scores that you could actually just listen to on their own and like play at a party. Like they would be great to play at a party.
Yeah, all those like 80 cents. It's like encapsulate the time.
Yep,
for sure.
Speaking of 80 synths, this kind of goes back to Ghostbusters. Can we just talk about some of like the awesome 80s like synth music played in the Real Ghostbusters cartoon during like montage scenes, specifically with this the episode we just watched, like the one, I forget the name of it, but like the girl with the one with the girl singing, like that is some good 80s pop music.
That is good music. Yeah, I did want to mention that. I almost slipped like right by me. But yeah, that like they throughout the whole series they had like 80s pop songs. And I'm surprised these haven't like played on the radio. And I'm pretty sure
they were just written, for the show.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Like I don't know who does them. I've tried looking them up.
I'm sure you could find them somewhere, like the songs themselves.
I probably just have to look in the right spot.
But I think I found one on YouTube. It was like night something.
So other than the 80s like synth pop stuff that they have, the Real Ghostbusters cartoon has a score to it that reminds me of a lot of John Carpenter, where his actual score isn't so much like songs, but more like just tones. And it feels like John Carpenter describes his music as like wallpaper. Like it's just supposed to be there, like faintly in the background.
Yeah.
But like the Real Ghostbusters cartoons, like they play a lot of like these, they capture this really creepy vibe with like ambient tones and stuff like that. There's a few moments in this episode. They're not using a theremin. That would probably be a little too goofy, but like I don't know, it's hard to describe. They do a really good job of capturing eerie, supernatural, macabre vibes with just like these really dull, subtle tones and stuff like that. And then it goes right into an 80s pop song. It's a really weird dichotomy.
Yeah, but it seamlessly goes like right to the next thing.
But it works. And then the Ghostbusters theme kicks in when they fight the bad guy.
Oh yeah, the triumphant, when they're about to win,
Yep.
I definitely feel like this was a movie that captured every teenager in a generation and basically summarized it perfectly.
Yeah.
You had, you had your asshole kid, you had your rude old man, you had the weird girl who was, still caring about other people. You just had everybody just perfectly characterized. And even still with the demonic possessions happening, they still play true to the embodiment of whoever they were prior, but just up to that next level. Even with some of the special effects as far as makeup, the voices, and even how they used that impromptu flamethrower, it's all like for a B movie, this was like, to me, this was like high B, low A end of effects.
Yeah.
All very,
high
very
B,
simple.
Low A. Yeah, I agree.
Very simple, but
very effective.
They used it perfectly. And I wouldn't change a singular thing.
No. This is one of those movies that as a kid growing up, I would always see this movie in the video store. I would always see the cover to this one and the second one, and the covers would scare the living crap out of me. And it was just always a movie I wanted to. It was intimidating. It was simple. It was almost the inverse of how I feel about The Exorcist. You see the cover to The Exorcist, and it's nothing. It's a man standing in the silhouetted by a street lamp in front of an apartment. Like, it's ominous, yeah, but it's not really threatening. Whereas you have like this demonic creature on the front that's looking at you. Like they specifically made her look at you on the cover, and it always creeped me out as a kid because she was inviting you. It was always her with like an invitation, so like she was directly coming at you. But you watch the movie and you end up having a really good time. Whereas with The Exorcist, you watch the movie and you end up not having a good time at all. Quite the opposite, though.
Oh, it's way the opposite.
Yeah.
The makeup definitely has like a similar feel. I'm looking at the cover right now. It definitely has like a similar feel to The Exorcist, like just how it looks and the demonic female, just like looking through your soul kind of feeling.
That just goes to show how good The Exorcist was in terms of design. Whenever you see someone possessed in a movie, they're always kind of ripping off the character of Reagan from The Exorcist with how like their demonic form looks. Like it always kind of goes back to that. It's just like how like every vampire sounds like Bela Lugosi. They're always doing like a Bela Lugosi impression,
right?
Even though it's
always a
not the same character, or Bela Lugosi,
right? Yeah. No, I completely agree with both of you guys. I mean, this movie just seems like a time capsule of the 1980s, like, and especially with like Halloween, and it gives me all those vibes, like, it's like a Halloween era, like Halloween style. It's 1980s, and it's like all like takes all those emotions and all those like different flavors and like seamlessly puts them together, and it's like such a fun ride. Like Steven said, there are parts like in the center where it does drag a little bit, but it's only like for maybe like 5 minutes, like not even like really that
5 minutes at the most, like total.
I do agree with you there, but it is just a fun ride, and it had twists and turns that I wasn't expecting. Like I couldn't predict what was going to happen, and especially for like 80s trope movies or like any like horror movies, like that's like kind of hard to do, which is, I commend this movie for that. Like I had no idea where it was going, especially with each character. I thought, this character was going to live, and when that character died, that kind of thing. And it was really others. A fun time.
Way worse,
for sure.
That I didn't expect.
I felt like some deserved better than others, but like, it's like, it seemed like anyone was open for the chopping board. Even the main protagonist, Judy. I thought she was gonna die at the end when
it's funny. I feel like
that's what I was thinking.
This sounds messed up, but like she didn't really. This is gonna sound mean. She didn't really suffer a lot in that movie. No. I mean, like, she almost falls, and she's got to climb the wall. Like, she gets her hands cut up on the barbed wire, but like for the most part, everything that happens inside of the house, she's just getting spooked a lot. Like, she's just getting scared a lot. Like, you're still alive. Like, all your friends are dead. You're kind of getting off a little easy.
Very easy at that.
Yeah.
I mean, she did get that demonic burn on her calf. That looked like it hurt.
That's
she seemed
true.
like a little bit more scarred than Roger turned out to be at the end of the film. At least she did get that, and who knows the consequences of that long term. And Roger did come around and actually help her. Like, You think he's just going to bail and go over the wall, but like he comes back and actually, helps her up. But I don't know how he got back up that wall, but I guess there's barbed wire on that side too.
Well, again, in the original draft, the wall was there, but it wasn't a giant brick wall. It was like giant. I don't think it was wood. I think it was just like a giant spiked wrought iron fence that went around the whole place. So Roger makes it over, and as she's trying to make it over, Angela attacks her. Roger comes back with like a chunk of the fence and stabs her through it. And that's how the movie's supposed to end, as opposed to just daylight coming and ending, ending everything. They changed it because, again, that house was a real house in LA, and it had that tall brick wall that they climb over was actually part of the property.
Oh, that's awesome. So it just worked.
But it didn't. But it didn't go around the whole the whole property. It was like only a small chunk. So they just filmed it to make it look like it wrapped around the whole place. But that's the only reason why they changed it. They're like, oh well, we have this giant brick wall. We might as well. Yeah. And that barbed wire was real barbed wire. That barbed wire was on the fence. And they were like, oh well, we'll write that into it. They can use the barbed wire as a rope, and it can cut their hands up and stuff.
Oh my gosh!
It was just a pure matter of just like, hey, we're going to use what we have.
Yeah.
Why spend money when we can just use what we have?
Oh yeah, for sure. And like when Roger had his hand cut up by the barbed wire and he's on top and Judy's like, they're trying to grab hands. Like I just thought since they're both bloodied up, they're just going to like slip out of each other's fingers. And it was like, it actually added a lot of tension with just that visual alone. And, it was an interesting ending for sure to end on the old man dying from the razor blades, but it was a fun ride altogether.
Very fun.
Do you guys have like any final ratings for both viewings, for both mediums that we watched? We usually like kind of give it arbitrary rating, but
4 stars.
I would. Oh, nice. Okay, I would probably give this a 7 out of 10. It's definitely a fun ride. I
4 out of 5. That's 4 out of 5 for me for both of them. They're as far as Ghostbusters episodes go, I don't really remember there being too many. Even the later seasons when it was Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters. As much as I didn't really care for those, there weren't too many like clunkers. They were still like that. Their worst episode was still a good episode.
Right. It was still fun to watch. Yeah, I'd probably give that an 8. The Real Ghostbusters episode an 8. This is a 7. So.
I think I'm gonna follow suit with. I'm gonna follow suit with you. I'm gonna give Ghostbusters an 8 and give this a 7. I would tell anybody I know play this during a Halloween party and just watch the chaos that happens.
Yeah. Steven, thank you so much for picking this movie. I would have never seen it otherwise. That's the beauty of this podcast. We get to throw whatever at each other, and we don't know what we're gonna expect. So,
I'm glad you guys liked it.
Yeah, no, it was really a fun time. Before we get into outros, I just want to say my next recommendation. We usually do the recommendations for for the next podcast during, so people have time to do the viewings, for just in time. So I think it's my choice for the next podcast. So I am going to pick 2 movies. I'm not going to do a short. I'm going to do 2 movies. I'm kind of cheating, but one of the movies is kind of short, so it's okay. So I'm going to do both of the Fly movies. So I'm going to do the 1950s Fly and the 1980s Fly, which I have.
Excellent.
I own both of them. So I am very curious to what people are going to like better. I know what I like best. I don't want to say it now. I want to say that for next episode, but I'm very curious. Steven, I'm sure you've seen both of the films.
Yes.
So yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, so if you guys don't want to be spoiled for The Fly 1955 or in 1980 something, watch that before next episode. So
Definitely. Both very
okay.
good movies.
So I guess it's just time for the outro. So
Sure.
Oh, Steven, we didn't go through this prior to the episode, but that's okay. We should have done that. But if you can't say, we usually try to get our guests involved. If you could say after Jerry says his little saying, becoming super friends one episode at a time, that'd be great. And then that'll be the episode.
Sure.
Awesome. So I'm going to start it out. All right. 3, 2, 1. This was Josh from BatYard's Finest. Send you off up and away until next BatYard's Finest episode.
This is Jerry guiding you all with Green Lantern's light.
Becoming super friends one episode at a time.
Awesome. Hey, Steven, thank you so much for coming on. You're always welcome.
Thank you for having me.
This was definitely a treat. Yeah, and it was nice to do one where you threw a movie at us, which is always cool. We never know what we're gonna expect, especially like when we get a guest on. If you ever want to,
always got suggestions if you ever need help.
Yeah, man. No, definitely. If you ever want to come back on, like, feel free to let us know. If you I definitely want to throw this movie at these guys. I want to see what they think. Like, you're totally do it, because that would be a really fun time. And hopefully we get Matt next time, because Matt has some interesting perspectives. I never know what he thinks about anything.
Did he watch the movie, or was he just unable to?
I don't know. That's an excellent question. We should ask him. We'll ask him next.
Find out if he did. Find out if he did. If he did, great. If not, we'll do the second movie.
Okay.
Okay.
Because we'll all be caught up.
Yeah. No, that'll be really cool. All right. Yeah.
That'd be dope.
We'll figure out a date, and we'll definitely do that. Maybe.
Sure.
I mean, we could continue celebrating Halloween in November, because November is still a time to celebrate.
It's a lifestyle for some people.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Steven, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll definitely keep in touch. And we're gonna throw the second movie at Matt at some point, so we'll figure it out.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.